What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 5 UC Chapter 101 3rd Reikage 2/5 Chapter 101 One Night Without Words. The night on the battlefield was surprisingly quiet. The next morning, when the sun rose, it marked the arrival of the second day of the Ninja World War, and a more tragic battle was about to begin. If the most intense place on the first day is the current battlefield of the Second Army, then from the second day onwards, the really tragic place. It will be the fourth team. Except for Konoha, the Kages of the past dynasties have all been reincarnation by Impure World. Although their strength is not at the peak state, the Kages of the past dynasties are all of the kind that are too strong. Miyamoto's eyes were worried, and he looked in other directions with serious eyes. What's wrong, Miyamoto-kun? Hinata had some doubts, and asked. Are you more worried about the battlefield over there? Taking the dry food handed by Hinata, Miyamoto took a bite and nodded. Indeed, 360 inches compared to this battlefield, other battlefields will be in a tough fight. Miyamoto said something with a calm face. It's okay, Miyamoto-kun, try to believe in the power of others. Hearing Hinata's words, Miyamoto smiled and nodded. Just sitting down, Miyamoto was taken aback for a moment, and after waiting for a while, looked at Hinata beside him with a solemn expression. Hinata, next, you and Hong, be careful. The order from the headquarters has come. I am going to other battlefields now. It is estimated that the Second Army will support other troops in the near future. Be careful. After Miyamoto finished speaking and kissed Hinata on the forehead, without hesitation, he jumped and disappeared into the forest. Just a moment ago, Miyamoto received an order to support. Gaara's unit has already encountered the shadow of Impure World reincarnation. Just 4 people brought huge losses. Before notifying Miyamoto, 3rd Tsuchikage Onogi had already gone to support. Somewhere in the desert, the 3rd Reikage is full of thunder and full of muscles. Lu claims to have the existence of the strongest shield and the strongest spear. Even if he revealed his details, the coalition forces still fought extremely hard against 3rd Reikage. The man with the strongest shield and physical strength capable of tiring 8 tails, the wind style of the coalition forces is completely ineffective. I can't go on like this. Tamari leads a coalition army, aiming at 3rd Reikage, looking at wind style for himself and others, it doesn't work at all. Miss him at all. Too fast. Appearing again, 3rd Reikage looked at the coalition forces with a disappointed face. I've already told you that I'm a lightning-style ninja. In the lightning-style armor state, my physical defense and speed are quite strong. With a body beyond the limit, it is impossible to defeat me except for using wind style to attack. Hearing 3rd Reikage's words, Tamari frowned and looked at each other. It's because you can't hit that it's so strenuous. Except for the feeling of powerlessness when facing Miyamoto, this is the first time for Ju to feel such huge pressure. Constantly thinking in his mind, Tamari's eyes sank to Reikage's plan. Wind style class. Swish swish swish. Several figures appeared in succession, standing in front of Tamari, each holding a big fan. Attack formation C. The 3 of them directly opened the Samsung fan and mobilized Chakra. Tamari showed a serious look on his face. Group wind style technique hanging net. Boom. The invisible wind blade formed a huge blade net and blasted towards 3rd Reikage. With serious eyes, Tamari straightened his face, bit his own finger, and swiped on the fan. Summoning hyphenation point chop dance. Bang. A sickle weasel flew out in an instant and rushed directly to 3rd Reikage, holding a large scythe in its hand. The wind-style technique of the group in front sent 3rd Reikage flying, and the moment he was still in the air, the scythe in Komedachi's hand cut out a ding ding ding. The scythe and the body of 3rd Reikage collided non-stop, sparks erupted, but Tamari's face sank. Will it work? After Komedachi summoning went back, when 3rd Reikage's body was about to fall to the ground, he rushed out just now, and followed the sealing class after hanging net ninjutsu, and threw out the seal. Thorn. But as soon as he landed, 3rd Reikage's body reacted directly. He raised his hand and slashed the cloth of the sealing class to pieces. Exclamation mark. A stronger wind style is needed. Swallowing, Tamari's face was covered with cold sweat. Honestly, among this group of people, wind style is stronger than me. Uzumaki Naruto, with the golden body mode on, appeared directly in front of everyone. Stronger wind style, I have. Raising his hand to condense the wind-style spiral shuriken, the terrifying wind-style chakra is eye-catching, and for a moment the people present were surprised. Uzumaki Naruto threw the wind-style spiral shuriken without waiting. The obvious attack, 3rd Reikage just dodged it with a sideways movement. However, the wind-style spiral shuriken controlled by Ninetail's chakra, at the moment 3rd Reikage dodged, threw it out behind him again. It was also a backflip to avoid the blow, but Uzumaki Naruto's body instantly came behind the movie, regaining control of the wind-style spiral shuriken. Successful. In an instant, the wind-style spiral shuriken directly hit the junior of 3rd Reikage. Boom. The terrifying force exploded on 3rd Reikage's body, pushed it out, and then exploded. The people of the sealing class followed closely, and the sealing cloth in their hands flew out and rolled towards 3rd Reikage. Thorn. Exactly the same. Third Raikage's body stood up again, his eyes were already emotionless, completely controlled. Raising his hand, above the palm of Third Raikage, lightning-style chakra gathered, and an invincible feeling spread out. That's the four-handed thrust of hell. Someone recognized Third Raikage's moves, and under such circumstances, the ninja from Cloud Shinobi Village directly commanded the crowd and prepared to defend. More than a dozen Earth-style ninjas came out and sealed at the same time. Earth-style Wanli Tuyubi. Rumble. Layer after layer of earth flow walls were formed, and the 4-0's powerful defense did not reassure the ninjas of Cloud Shinobi Village. The shock of the earth flow wall being broken through came, and all the people present looked at the earth flow wall nervously. Bang bang. Breaking through directly, Third Raikage's icy eyes pointed directly at the ninjas behind the earth flow wall, which has become a three-handed hell stabbing, bringing huge pressure to everyone. Not even a wind-style spiral shuriken. Because of the reason of avoiding in time, Uzumaki Naruto has nothing to do, looking at Third Raikage. Third Raikage turned his gaze. Naruto, be careful. Temari's voice made Uzumaki Naruto startled, and the next moment, Third Raikage's body had come to him. Oh no. His face was serious, and it was too late to escape. P.S. Chapter 101, thank you for your support, thank you very much. Chapter 102 Uchiha. Madara 3/5. Chapter 102. Bang, bang. The moment the hell stab hit Uzumaki Naruto, when he thought he was finished, Uzumaki Naruto's body turned into a puff of smoke and disappeared. Shadow clone. Seeing such a scene, Temari breathed a sigh of relief, and turned to look at Third Raikage rather seriously. But in this way, you will lose a powerful helper. Third Raikage is getting harder. Swish, boom. An afterimage fell from the sky, raised his eyes and looked in the direction of Third Raikage. Wearing a red armor, with a sword on his back, and a head of wild long black hair, Haki flies in the wind. With arms folded, Miyamoto takes a look at the next generation of movies. It seems that I am not too late. Seeing Miyamoto's appearance, Temari's eyes lit up, looking at Miyamoto with a smile on his face. Yakushi, now, it shouldn't be a big problem. Looking at Miyamoto, Temari showed seriousness on his face. Musashi. Be careful, the shadow of the third generation is very strong. Thorn. 17. Just after Temari finished speaking, the figure of the controlled Third Raikage disappeared like a bolt of lightning. In the next instant, Miyamoto appeared in front of him, and the voice of Yakushi Kabuto sounded. Miyamoto Musashi, you are finally here. I've been waiting for you for a long time. Hell Spike one hand. The voice of Third Raikage sounded, and above the index finger, an incomparably tyrannical sharp breath attacked Miyamoto. Eyes raised slightly, the eyes filled with blue light. A smile was drawn on the corner of Miyamoto's mouth, facing Third Raikage's attack. The fingers of his right hand were slightly raised. Repulsion. Hum. 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 The air screamed and vibrated, and then a wave of repulsive force condensed into a tangible force, which directly acted on Third Raikage's body. Tensagan's repulsion is easier to manipulate than Rinnegan's. Boom. The Third Raikage, who made the coalition forces at a loss, was under the effect of this extremely terrifying repulsion, and the body that was advancing in the air stopped, and then, like a meteor, it shattered the weathered stones in the desert and blasted into the ground. Lifting his finger, then lowering it, Miyamoto spoke softly. Gravitational. Whoosh. The Third Raikage, who had just been blasted into the ground, suffered severe injuries, and hadn't recovered from the shattering. The next moment, the whole body flew towards Miyamoto uncontrollably. Wind-style super spiral shuriken. Raising his hand, a spiral shuriken was formed, and one couldn't breathe, and it grew directly to a terrifying level. Boom. Hitting Third Raikage head-on, blasting it directly into the ground, the body was broken, but it was slowly recovering. Miyamoto turned to look at the coalition Shifang. Temari, I will leave the matter of sealing to you. I'll deal with the other shadows, you can decide, whether to support or retreat, it doesn't matter. The blue light in the eyes fell, and Miyamoto's figure flashed and disappeared directly. It didn't take Miyamoto long to tackle Third Raikage. The perception power spread out, and Miyamoto's figure quickly moved towards another place, the direction of Chakra of Impure World Reincarnation, without delaying time. After taking out Third Mizukage, and part of the Impure World Reincarnation's army, Miyamoto headed in the direction of Gaara's Chakra reaction. On the way, Miyamoto's figure suddenly stopped. His eyes stared straight ahead, in the ice blue light, among the Tensagan with mysterious patterns. A terrifying chakra soars into the sky, instantly moving the breath of the distance. Feeling this chakra, feeling this momentum, feeling this kind of breath that makes the heart beat faster, Miyamoto's body is actually a little trembling. Feeling the shaking of his body, Miyamoto patted his face. Are you scared? No. This is the will to fight. Boom. The body rushed out in an instant, and the rocky mountain under his feet collapsed directly, and Changben's face showed an excited color. On the frontal battlefield of the Fourth Army, Onoki's face was covered with cold sweat, and his heart began to tremble when he saw the figure of Haki on the stone platform. Uchiha. Madara. Gaara also looked dignified, looking at Uchiha Madara, who was revived by Impure World Reincarnation on the stone platform. If he is Uchiha Madara, Then who is Uchiha Madara who appeared at the 5 cages that day? Knowing that, the only thing people in Wangchang know is one thing. Many people will die next. Looking at the second Tsuchikage above, and Uchiha Madara wearing a red armor, the coalition forces seemed a little confused. Tamari, who just rushed over to support him from another place, had a serious look on his face. The one in front of me is the real Madara, so who is wearing the mask? Can't you guess who used Akatsuki's third Tsuchikage? Shaking his head, third Tsuchikage's face was serious. I can't figure it out either. All in all, no matter who the enemy is, we must defeat him. A serious color appeared on his face. Uchiha Madara plus second Tsuchikage, 2 people, it's not easy to fight at all. Looking at the coalition forces below, Uchiha Madara folded his hands, eyes full of disdain. The forehead protector is forbearance, but the clothes belong to the 5 major countries. Is it a new coalition army? Uchiha Madara's doubts, standing beside him, second Tsuchikage explained. Because it's war. The expression on Uchiha Madara's face is still flat, the Sharingan in the eyes is scarlet and terrifying. After all, that guy did it, there must be his consideration. But it doesn't seem to be as smooth as his plan. You actually resurrected me in such a way. There was a slight dissatisfaction in his tone, and the plan did not go according to his will, which indicated that after this, some accidents might happen. Glancing at second Tsuchikage next to him, Uchiha Madara asked again. Who is the caster of impure world reincarnation? Second Tsuchikage Wuzheng was about to say that he didn't know, his body trembled suddenly, his eyes also lost their expression, and then. I'm a bag. His assistant. Hearing this completely different voice, a cold light flashed in Uchiha Madara's eyes, and he looked at second Tsuchikage. Speak to me through impure world reincarnation. You are a sinister fellow. Withdrawing his gaze, Uchiha Madara ignored Yakushi Kabuto, looked at the coalition forces below, and at the same time looked in a certain direction with a little curiosity. Oh ho, there's an interesting guy coming here. Controlling Tsuchikage's pocket, his tone paused slightly. Please be careful, the person who came here is named Miyamoto Musashi, who owns the Wood-style blood succession limit. Although it is Wood-style, your impure world reincarnation is specially prepared by me. Your power will be stronger than in your prime. Should be fearless Wood-style. Murderous look. After Do finished saying this sentence, Uchiha Madara had a murderous look on him, and he glanced at Tu slightly, and then withdrew his gaze. He took a step forward, looked at Haki, and exuded a terrifying aura from his body. Miyamoto Musashi. It's just gravel, not half as good as me. P.S. This is Chapter 102, thank you for your support. Chapter 103 Let's Dance. 4/5. Chapter 103. And, just now you said that I am now in the prime of my power. With a glance, Uchiha Madara's face showed a flat face. The voice came out, looking at Uchiha Madara, respectfully said. No, be sure to show me, the calendar area of the Uchiha legend. Boom. Just after saying this, a handful of yellow sand swept towards the 2 of them, trying to catch Uchiha Madara and Wudu. Swish swish. The 2 figures dispersed, and under the control of Do, second Tsuchikage flew into the sky, while Uchiha Madara fell to the ground and stood upright. Let me have a good time until that Miyamoto Musashi you mentioned comes. While speaking, Uchiha Madara showed indifference on his face, and began to rush towards the coalition army at an extremely fast speed. A terrifying killing intent hovered in the hearts of the coalition army, which was quite depressed. Onoki watched Uchiha Madara rushing over, his face froze. Come here. Don't meet his eyes. The people of the coalition army held their own weapons in their hands, their bodies trembling uncontrollably, watching Uchiha Madara approaching, each and every one of them showed nervous fear. Fear overwhelms these people. The roar can be courageous, and the people in the first echelon let out a roar, like a charge horn, and the coalition ninjas rushed towards Uchiha Madara one by one, at a very fast speed. Bang, The 2 sides had just come into contact, and among the ninjas who were the first to meet Uchiha Madara, there was a scream, and bodies flew into the air one after another. A punch and a kick directly took a person's life. Exquisite, the pinnacle physical skills honed in the battlefield, there is no unnecessary movement, every blow will inevitably take away a life, strong strength, no doubt shows that Uchiha Madara's reputation for suppressing the ninja world is not in vain. Taking off slightly, Uchiha Madara avoided the beheading technique used by a ninja. At the same time, Uchiha Madara raised his legs and kicked the 2 cooperating ninjas away. His eyes were cold, and he didn't even look at the people under the ground. He punched them hard. Kill in the ground. Swish. With a movement of his body, he pulled out the 2 katanas on the ground, and continued to charge into the group of ninjas. Blood and flesh flew everywhere he passed. The battlefield was in chaos. Miyamoto's speed is very fast. When the thunder is launched instantly, even if it is the speed of third Raikage, Miyamoto will not be inferior to him. After seeing the location of the coalition forces from a distance, Tenseigin formed instantly in Miyamoto's eyes. With powerful insight, Miyamoto directly saw Uchiha Madara, who was pinching the neck of a Cloud Shinobi village ninja at the moment. Miyamoto stared at him with a serious face, the chakra on his body exploded, and his whole body was condensed. Lightning-style Ben Lei flash backquote. Bang. The moment the terrifying lightning burst, Miyamoto's instantaneous speed reached ultimate, at least 1,000 meters away, within a breath after the thunder burst. Sting. The dazzling thunder flashed from behind everyone, and came to Uchiha Madara in an instant. Uchiha Madara. Bang. The terrifying strange power, coupled with Lei Shun's terrifying speed blessing, and the compression repulsion covering the fist, Uchiha Madara's body was directly thrown out by Hongfei. Rumble. The ground shook, and a ravine appeared. At the starting point of the ravine, hair fell slowly. Miyamoto's face was quite serious. He looked towards the end of the ravine, and the smoke gradually dissipated. Uchiha Madara Hokage's figure appeared there. Did not hurt him at all. Eyes on each other. The outfits on their bodies are similar, the chakra on their bodies is almost as terrifying, and their aura is similar. Uchiha Madara looked at Miyamoto, Miyamoto looked at Uchiha Madara, and they both said at the same time. You, want to dance? Quiet, atmosphere ultimate quiet? The two raged to the ultimate momentum collided crazily, and the winner was evenly divided. The next moment, fire style extinguish fire. Fire style extinguish fire. Boom. Boom. The convergence of two huge chakra, followed by two fire style, leaving no room for the full release of fire style huge fire extinguishment. Boom. 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 The violent flames exploded, forming two terrifying walls of fire between the two sides. Several seconds later, Miyamoto let go of the imprint on his hand, and looked solemnly at the opposite side of the fire. If you don't want to die, back off immediately and fight him, I can't accurately control my strength 17. Dead, don't blame me. Boom. In the embers of fire, the body of Uchiha Madara shape rushed out of the fire in an instant. Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan directly targeted Miyamoto, with a smile on Uchiha Madara's face. I take back what I just said. You are indeed different from other miscellaneous fish. Just right, Uchiha Madara, will have fun with you. While speaking, the figure of Uchiha Madara, who had landed on the ground, rushed towards Miyamoto. Very good. With fighting intent in his eyes, Miyamoto also rushed out, the Tensegan in his eyes exuded a faint light, and looked at Uchiha Madara. I also want to see how strong your strength is. Are you qualified enough? Have fun with me. Uchiha Madara, come enjoy the joy of fighting together. The figure was close to both sides in an instant, Miyamoto's eyes flashed, and he took the lead in attacking. He was extremely fast, and without any skill, he punched Uchiha Madara's face with a punch. The moment Miyamoto raised his hand, Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan's terrifying insight had already predicted Miyamoto's actions. Slightly turned sideways, and at the same time grabbed Miyamoto's neck with one hand, Uchiha Madara looked slightly disdainful. Is this the only way to do it? Crack. Faced with the hand that was pinching towards his neck, Miyamoto's expression remained unchanged, and the left hand that went out grabbed the backhand of Uchiha Madara's head, and at the same time, his right hand met Uchiha Madara and grabbed him. Nose. Good. The hands around his neck. The moment the two hands grasped, Miyamoto's fingers changed slightly. Seal. Miyamoto used his left hand, and Uchiha Madara didn't care, twisted his body slightly, raised his hand to block Miyamoto's hand grabbing the back of his head, and also sealed. Fire style great fireball technique. Fire style great fireball technique. The distance between the two bodies was no more than 50 centimeters, yet they used the great fireball technique at the same time. Boom. There was an explosion, and two harmless figures flew out of the smoke and dust. Around Uchiha Madara, Susanoo's skeleton covered the outside, protecting his body. On Miyamoto's body, the armor made of chakra ore was covered with a layer of repulsion. The moment he landed, a thunderbolt flashed on Miyamoto's body, and the next moment, he rushed towards Uchiha Madara. Come on. Go on. P.S. This is Chapter 103, thank you for your support, I am very grateful. Chapter 104 Wood Styles Susanoo 5/5 Chapter 104, interesting. Facing Miyamoto's continued attack, Uchiha Madara didn't worry about anything, but looked calmly at Miyamoto. The joy of fighting. You are slightly entitled to enjoy it. While talking, Miyamoto has come to Uchiha Madara, holding his own chakra taidao with his right hand, the moment he approached. Jung. The scorching knife lights up, and Miyamoto, who is in the mid-air, stares intently. Lightning-style supersonic lightning-style knife. The terrifying agitation of lightning-style chakra sent out a shockwave higher than human hearing. At the same time, Miyamoto's strength increased suddenly, and he slashed directly at Susanoo of Uchiha Madara. Break it! Boom! Uchiha Madara's eyes were solemn, watching Miyamoto's knife fall. Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan's pupil power soared, and Susanoo's defense power also increased crazily. Boom! Susanoo, who received Miyamoto's knife from the front, was knocked out together with Uchiha Madara by a huge force. The moment he landed, Uchiha Madara looked at his own Susanoo, his pupils were slightly condensed. Susanoo's defense was actually breached. Not only that, but also hit me. This guy is very good. Turning to Miyamoto, the wound on Uchiha Madara's chest, recovering quickly. The chakra taidao was burning red. This sword was a culmination of Miyamoto's sword skills, and its power was indeed powerful. Ordinary ninjas might not be able to block this sword. Glancing at the Chakra Teidao in his hand, Miyamoto stuck it directly on the ground, looked at Uchiha Madara who lived among Susanoo, and smiled slightly. Susanoo's defense is really as strong as ever. Hearing Miyamoto's words, Uchiha Madara Hokuto frowned. Huh? Looking at you like this, you should have fought against the owner of Mangekyo Sharingan? So, have you ever seen Susanoo like this? When Uchiha Madara spoke, the Susanoo who wrapped herself up changed directly entered the mature Susanoo. Looking down at Miyamoto, Uchiha Madara's face is full of pride. I heard that you have wood style, let me see how many levels you can use wood style. While speaking, Uchiha Madara urged Chakra, with a huge fist, to bombard directly towards the place where Miyamoto was. Without changing his face, the chakra on his body rioted. Miyamoto looked at the fist that was coming, and made BHBJ seals with both hands. Wood style birth of the tree world. Bang rumble. Compared with the previous application of wood style, Miyamoto released wood style this time faster than ultimate. Almost as soon as his voice fell, a terrifying giant tree burst out of the ground. Swish. Huge trees shot out from under Miyamoto's feet, directly entangled Uchiha Madara's Susanoo's fist. At the same time, the giant trees in all directions are also bodies. Bang, the tree made a rattling sound, firmly imprisoning Susanoo, and at the same time, the seal on Miyamoto's hand changed. Wood style wood dragon technique. Boom. From under Susanoo's body, a huge wooden dragon appeared, entwined on Uchiha Madara's mature body, Susanoo. With the seal on his hand unchanged, Miyamoto looked at Uchiha Madara. Aren't you satisfied with this wood style? Feeling the tremendous pressure on Susanoo, Uchiha Madara finally became serious, looking at Ben. Birth of the Tree Realm and Wooden Dragon Technique, you can use both. Your wood style is qualified. But if that's all you're doing, that's about it. I recognize you, you are worthy of being a ninja with Hashirama's wood style. Very good. With a fixed gaze, Uchiha Madara's face showed a dignified color, looked at Miyamoto, and said, I, Uchiha Madara, approve of you. Next, let me fight wood style for a long time, Musashi. This time, I'm serious. While speaking, the imprisoned Susanoo suddenly let out a roar, and then Uchiha Madara's pupil power skyrocketed crazily. Susanoo, who was only a mature body, became even bigger. Donned in Yudengu armor, with wings growing from behind, and Uchiha Madara herself, residing in the crystal block on Susanoo's forehead. The wooden dragon and the giant tree that were originally imprisoned on Susanoo's body were cut off directly under a few blades of light. Seeing Miyamoto, Uchiha Madara became serious, but there was no reason for it. After cutting off the wooden dragon and trees that imprisoned him, under the control of Uchiha Madara, Susanoo raised the samurai sword in his hand and made the movement of drawing a knife. Miyamoto is quite familiar with this move. Miyamoto, who just used it once yesterday, looked solemnly and made seals with both hands. Wood-style wood expulsion jutsu. While a huge ghost-faced wooden shield was in front of him, Susanoo's knife directly pulled out a jung. The terrifying knife light directly struck the huge wooden shield in front of Miyamoto, and a gust of violent wind blew out, raising dust all over the sky. Looking at this familiar shield, Uchiha Madara's appearance is so colorful. When Miyamoto used wood dragon technique and birth of trees, Uchiha Madara had a guess. Miyamoto should know everything. Senju Hashirama's wood style. Unlocking wood expulsion jutsu, Miyamoto looked at the huge full-body Susanoo with a serious face. The full-body Susanoo has come out, so I can't hide anything. Wood-style wooden golem jutsu. Boom. In an instant, the huge trees under Miyamoto's feet intertwined and merged directly, and a huge wooden golem, a complete version comparable to the perfect Susanoo, appeared directly in front of the perfect Susanoo. The moment it took shape, he was not polite at all, and punched Susanoo at the full body, Tianli. Facing Miyamoto's attack, Uchiha Madara, who had been prepared for a long time, raised his hand with a sneer and slashed at wooden golem's fist. The distance between wooden golem and Susanoo is very close, but the strength of the two before is quite large. This blow. Boom. The terrifying aftermath shook, and a huge pit appeared directly where the two giants stood. After one blow, wooden golem and Susanoo retreated some distance under the control of Miyamoto and Uchiha Madara. Miyamoto stood at the head of the wooden golem, looking at Uchiha Madara on the head of Susanoo opposite, with a serious face. Very well. This is it. You have the shadow of Hashirama on you. Musashi, come again. At the same time as he finished speaking, Uchiha Madara had a satisfied smile on his face, and the full body of Susanoo jumped up, crossed his knives, and slashed at wooden golem. With a concentrated expression, Mrs. Ju raised her hands. Wood style. P.S. This is Chapter 104, thank you for your support. Chapter 105 Don't say I'm lying 1/5. Chapter 105. Wood style wood dragon technique. From wooden golem's body, 4 wooden dragons flew out, spun forward, and met Susanoo's slash from the sky. Boom. A terrifying shock wave erupted, centering on the place where the two fought. Everything within a radius of several kilometers was directly blasted by the shock wave, and the ground was directly pushed flat. Since the war between Miyamoto and Uchiha Madara, there has been no coalition force able to intervene, seeing the horror scene caused by the two. Stunned. Shock was written on Gaara's face. Is this the power of God? This is no longer a battle we can intervene in. Coalition Squad. Report the battle situation here to the headquarters, and ask for support in other battlefields. Tamari next to Gaara heard this, her pupils shrank, she gritted her teeth, and looked at Wooden Golem and Susanoo. The wise Tamari knew that Gaara's decision was correct. But there are still some unreconciled, Tamari. Gaara's voice sounded, and he spoke in a deep voice. Trust in his power. It is useless for ordinary people to stay, and even if the 5 shadows stay in this battle, it will not have much effect. On Wooden Golem's head, Miyamoto's expression remained unchanged, and he controlled Wooden Golem to jump up directly. Boom. Just after jumping away, Susanoo landed on the Wooden Golem's position, causing a cloud of smoke. Jung. The knife in Susanoo's hand slashed directly at Wooden Golem, and the huge knife energy directly cut off the distant mountain peak. The handprint did not change. In response to Susanoo's attack, in the tree world, several huge trees intertwined to form a double-edged sword, and Wooden Golem was holding it in his hand. Clang. Clang. The 2 huge swords collided directly, and a terrifying wave of sword energy erupted. Although Miyamoto's hand is a wooden sword, it is extremely tough, and there is no problem in colliding with Susanoo. The confrontation between the 2 behemoths resulted in swordsmanship and terrifying power, which directly rewrote the surrounding map. Clang. 2 giant swords clash again, Uchiha Madara on Susanoo, looking at Miyamoto. I want to praise you. In the application of wood style, you are very thoughtful and talented. But you forgot your technique. I have seen it before. Bang bang bang. The wings on the back of Susanoo spread out, and she ran at an extremely fast speed, rushing towards Miyamoto. The sword in her hand slashed across the tree world, leaving a knife mark. In an instant, he came to the Wooden Golem at Miyamoto's feet, and the giant sword in his hand emitted a strong chakra wave, and he raised his hand and slashed at Miyamoto's Wooden Golem. Wooden Golem, I've played against it many times. In the face of this change in the seal on Wanben's hand, a rather huge wooden shield stood beside Wooden Golem, and Susanoo's knife slashed directly on wood expulsion jutsu. Clang. This knife cut deeply into the wooden shield, and beside the wooden shield, 2 giant hands directly grabbed Susanoo's giant sword. Seeing this scene, Uchiha Madara's face remained unchanged. Huh? Laughing Buddha, then the next, will attack from the front? As if following Uchiha Madara's prediction, Wooden Golem raised his fist and blasted directly towards Susanoo's head. There was a sneer at the corner of his mouth, and when he raised his hand to block Miyamoto's attack, Uchiha Madara spoke loudly. Musashi. It seems that the owner of the Mangekyo Sharingan who fought with you before did not let you fully understand Susanoo. Swish. 2 huge fists suddenly grew out from the ribs of Wooden Goo's armor, and raised their fists. Bang bang. 2 heavy punches hit Miyamoto's Wooden Golem. The forward Wooden Golem, with its weight and potential energy, produced a huge impact, and was overturned by the hook under these 2 punches. I already knew it. This trick, what do you want? Miyamoto remains unchanged, standing on top of the Wooden Golem, looking at Uchiha Madara. Call out. The overturned Wooden Golem retracted his legs flexibly, and then kicked out with all his strength. Boom. A solid kick to the head of Susanoo. Wooden Golem and Susanoo fall to the ground at the same time. Crack. Putting your hands together, Miyamoto's eyes flashed solemnly. Around the fallen Susanoo, more than a dozen giant trees broke through the ground and wrapped around her hands, legs, wings, neck, and waist. Press firmly on the ground. Wood style 9 wood dragon technique. The gigantic chakra erupted. Boom. 9 wooden dragons, which are bigger than ordinary wooden dragons, broke out from around Susanoo. After roaring silently, they directly blasted at Uchiha Madara above Susanoo's head. Miyamoto's eyes were sharp. Madara, let you feel the fear of being dominated by wood style. Asking for flowers. Point 0. Uchiha Madara among Susanoo looked at the terrifying 9 dragons coming down from above her head, her eyes flickered slightly. It's really interesting to fight with you. Indeed, wood style is very strong. But you are not the only one who owns wood style. With hands in mudra, Uchiha Madara's eyes were filled with a sneer, under Miyamoto's gaze. Wood style birth of the tree realm. Under the urging of the huge chakra, another large forest emerged from the soil. Giant trees intertwined and blocked Susanoo's top. At the same time, under the impact of 2 wood style forces, Susanoo's body was restrained. Wood style, directly destroyed. Susanoo, who broke free, faced the Kowloon that was blowing down from the sky, raised her hand and blasted out with a sword. Jung. 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 0. After a few flashes of sword light, the attack of Sleepy Dragon technique was resolved by Uchiha Madara. Boom. The ground shook. Wooden Golem's huge body leapt into the air, quickly came to the front of Susanoo, and punched out. So fast. Uchiha Madara's eyes froze. It was too late to control wood style. Susanoo raised her hands to block above her head. Boom. Crash. The huge body retreated directly, plowing a ditch on the ground. After opening the distance, Uchiha Madara maneuvered Susanoo, several traversals, retreated a distance, and confronted Miyamoto. Musashi. Wood style is powerful, but how long can you last? Although the state of impure world reincarnation makes me quite unhappy. But in this state, my chakra is infinite. With hands in mudra, Uchiha Madara looked at Miyamoto and said, "Ninja battles are never a frontal attack, don't say I'm cheating. Because it's war now, wood style multiple shadow clone technique." In an instant, among the trees on the ground, 9 wood clone of Uchiha Madara appeared from it. Looking at Miyamoto on top of the wooden golem, Uchiha Madara had a smile on his face. "How about you like this?" As Uchiha Madara's words fell, 9 Uchiha Madara wood clone on the ground burst out with blue chakra. 9 perfect Susanos stand in front of Miyamoto. P.S. This is Chapter 105, thank you for your support. Chapter 106 Tengai Shinsei. 2/5 Chapter 106, 10 against 1. Musashi, how do you want to fight now? Folding his hands, Uchiha Madara's face showed thought, and he secretly laughed in his heart, looking at Miyamoto. "I'm going up." The main body stood still, but his avatar struck at the same time, attacking from all directions. The huge Susanoo's body clearly told Gong. This trick is definitely not easy to accept. Crack. Putting your hands together, Miyamoto looked at Uchiha Madara and shouted. "Drink. Sage art." Seeing Miyamoto's movements, Uchiha Madara looked indifferent, and finally became dignified, and put down his arms, feeling a huge pressure. In Uchiha Madara's eye sockets, Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan Terror with Insight, observed the innumerable natural chakra converging into Miyamoto's body. 753, even Sage Mode will use that trick. Uchiha Madara looked at Miyamoto with a serious expression on his face. Shouldn't be possible. That move, except for Hashirama, there should be no one with such a huge chakra. Boom. The huge and substantial chakra shows that Miyamoto's terrifying chakra is even more terrifying than Senju Hashirama. A large amount of natural chakra poured into the body. A mortal skin appeared directly on Miyamoto's face, and the blue Tensagen was also dyed gold. Wood style. After completing Sage Mode, Miyanbin looked up at Uchiha Madara. 18 Forehand Technique. Drink. Boom. Wooden golem, which was originally quite huge, has changed in shape. 9 pairs of folded hands are surrounded behind him, as if surrounded by Buddha light. Wooden golem's body changes and becomes taller, more than half taller than Susanoo. Transformation is like a giant Buddha, pointing to the sky with one hand and pointing to the ground with the other. Miyamoto's whole body is located between the eyebrows of the 18 forehand Buddha statues, and the terrifying chakra that is so huge that it almost distorts the air converges. Uchiha Madara. Boom boom boom. With the operation of Miyamoto's chakra, the 9 pairs of 18 hands behind the Buddha statue were all opened. At the same time, Susanoo, who had already reached the vicinity of the Buddha statue, slashed at the Buddha statue with the knife in his hand. Boom boom boom. 9 giant hands directly blocked 9 incoming attacks, and the remaining hands directly hit the crystal on the top of Susanoo's head. Bang bang bang. 9 Susanoos were directly grasped by the Buddha statue's extended hands, grabbed their heads, and pressed them fiercely on the ground. While the terrifying power shook the earth, although they couldn't break Susanoo, this terrifying force was it directly penetrated Susanoo's protective crystal and shattered the avatar in it. Call. After breaking the attack of Uchiha Madara's avatar with one blow, Miyamoto exhaled slightly. The hand of the Buddha statue has been retracted, and the original appearance, the huge Buddha statue, is half as big as Uchiha Madara's full body Susanoo, condescending. "Are you only able to do this? I haven't tried my best yet." Hearing Miyamoto's words, Uchiha Madara had a sneer on his face, and just looked at Miyamoto like this. "Musashi, do you know the technique of impure world reincarnation? It is used to die together. How about this trick?" While speaking, the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan transformed directly, becoming Rinnegan, Uchiha Madara's two-handed mudra, and the huge Susanoo is also a mudra. Tengai Shinsei. Boom. Accompanied by Uchiha Madara's seal, Miyamoto suddenly felt a terrifying pressure on the top of his head, and raised his head solemnly, looking at the sky. A huge meteorite fell from the sky, like the end of the world. The coalition forces that were resourced on other battlefields suddenly turned their heads one by one and looked at the place where Miyamoto and Uchiha Madara fought. Everyone saw the huge meteorite falling from the sky at a glance, and everyone was terrified. Gaara and the others who were relatively close can feel the terrifying coercion of death, and their faces are dignified. That is, not a dimensional power at all. The people here can see more clearly, including the huge wooden Buddha statue under the meteorite, they can all see. It was clear at a glance that the place where the meteorite fell was directly below the wooden Buddha statue, and this was obviously a tactic to kill them all. Obviously it was not from Chongben. Temari's face was serious, and there was a suffocating worry in his heart. Musashi. Everyone's faces were extremely solemn. Gaara looked at this terrifying scene, his eyes trembled slightly. What kind of terrifying monsters are they fighting against? Hey hey hey. Suddenly, someone in the coalition army exclaimed. More than one meteorite. That's the second one. Hearing this, everyone's eyes turned to the top of the first meteorite. The second meteorite had already broken through the clouds, and it was hitting the first meteorite faster. Seeing this scene, everyone is looking forward to the birth of a miracle. Under such an attack, I hope that Zongan can survive successfully. Above the Buddha statue, Miyamoto's figure has reached the top of the Buddha statue's skyward fingers. Looking at the huge meteorite above his head, Tensagan's powerful vision has allowed him to see clearly the even bigger first meteorite. 2 meteorites. With serious eyes, Miyamoto raised his right hand. A terrifying repulsive force condensed on his hand, and then the golden light spread from the palm of Miyamoto to the distance. Watching Miyamoto's movements, Uchiha Madara's face showed seriousness, looking at the golden lightsaber in front of Miyamoto, on which he felt a fatal crisis. This move. His eyes are special. As soon as Uchiha Madara's voice fell, Miyamoto's voice came out. Golden wheels explode. Jung. The terrifying blade groaned, piercing the eardrums of people, and a terrifying cutting force emanated out. Miyamoto grabbed the hilt of the sword with one hand, faced the meteorite above his head, raised his hand and slashed out with a sword. Buzz. 4.0. The knife cut out, the air stagnated, and the speed of the 2 meteorites falling above the head stagnated for a moment at the same time, and then... boom. Accompanied by an explosion, the 2 huge meteorites exploded directly from the middle, split into 4 pieces, and fell to the 2 sides. Boom. Although the falling momentum of the meteorite stagnated, it was still terrifying. 4.5 meteorites fell to the ground, and the 5 major countries could feel the violent earthquake. Even the Cloud Shinobi village headquarters in the rear caused severe earthquakes. Tsunade and Reikage, who were discussing the situation of the war, were directly shocked and fell to the ground. Getting up, Tsunade looked at the perception class. How is this going? P.S. To be continued, this is chapter 106. Thank you for your support, I am very grateful. Chapter 107 This world is too small 3/5 Chapter 107. Report, the face of the person who sensed the troops was quite shocked, and someone said. Miyamoto-sama and the battlefield of Impure World Reincarnation Uchiha Madara, just now. 2 huge meteorites fell from outer space. The earthquake just now was caused by this. The expression on his face was unbelievable, and then Tsunade looked at the liaison department on the other side with a serious face. Haichi. Contact Musashi right now, to see his status, if necessary. Headquarters will support him immediately, and deal with that Uchiha Madara alone. Don't force yourself. Hearing this, the captain of the contact unit, Yamanaka Ino's father, Yamanaka Haii didn't hesitate, and when he was about to make a seal to ask, Nara Shirju, the military advisor on the side, stopped him directly. Wait a minute. Master Tsunade, the current situation is not suitable for contacting Musashi. Tsunade frowned, looked at Nara Shikahisa. Why? His eyes sank, Nara Shirju's face became serious. The opponent is Uchiha Madara. A single distraction can lead to fatal mistakes. Hearing this, Tsunade's face changed slightly, and he clenched his fists. 17 inches Hokage, 4th Reikage, who was silent on one side, suddenly spoke. Believe in your subordinates, you know his strength better than us. After pondering for a moment, Tsunade gritted his teeth, his face calm. I see, perception class. Pay close attention to that area. If nothing happens, the battle between Uchiha Madara and Musashi may affect the entire battle situation. On the battlefield, both Wood Style and Susanoo have been unlocked. Standing on a huge piece of gravel, Miyamoto looked up at the body of Uchiha Madara, which was constantly condensing and completed, and did not attack or seal it. Is that move just now your pupil technique? The body was condensed successfully. Uchiha Madara raised his eyes and looked at Miyamoto. There was a mysterious pattern in the pair of ice blue. Even with the golden light of Sage Mode, Uchiha Madara could still see clearly. That's right. Nodding his head, Miyamoto looked at Uchiha Madara, his face still calm, and folded his hands. It was your turn just now. Now it's my turn. Are you ready? Miyamoto looked at Uchiha Madara and asked with the hair without wind. With a solemn face, he completely regarded Miyamoto as an opponent of the same level. Uchiha Madara tensed up, looking at Miyamoto. Powerful Wood Style. Special eyes. In this era, a ninja like you can appear. Ninja World. It's really interesting, Musashi, if you and I, and Hashirama are in the same era, it's definitely a very good thing, but it's a pity. There are so few places in this world where small swords open up territories, and it's barely enough for me to toss by myself. After Uchiha Madara finished speaking, a small force of repulsion appeared on his body, and the whole person flew into the air. Although the level that can be exerted by such a body is only 90%, it is still immortal and infinite chakra. Musashi, I, Madara, hereby promise, I will definitely give you a gorgeous funeral. His eyes sank, and he looked at Uchiha Madara in the sky. Miyamoto's expression did not change. He lowered his body slightly, and the lightning flashed on his body. A huge repulsive force condensed on his hands. Stinging. Looking up, Miyamoto's body instantly turned into lightning, and the terrifying repulsion force directly pressed the ground into a deep pit, which was comparable to teleportation, and appeared directly in front of Uchiha Madara. Beautiful words, don't say them lightly until you do them. Their eyes met for a moment, and Miyamoto's fist hit Uchiha Madara in an instant. What a speed! Pupils shrank slightly, Uchiha Madara's face was serious, and he reacted quickly to Miyamoto's bombarding fist. Hands crossed in front of him. Boom! A muffled sound sounded, and Miyamoto's fist hit Uchiha Madara's hands 5 millimeters in front. A substantial repulsion defense circle with deep depressions, but this final distance could not be broken through. Rinnegan looked at Miyamoto, and Uchiha Madara sneered. Shenluo Tianzheng. The extremely terrifying repulsion force directly acts on Miyamoto's body, causing Miyamoto's body to fly upside down involuntarily. This repulsion force is much more terrifying than when Tiandao Pain used it. It's not over yet, universal pull. While blasting Miyamoto away, Uchiha Madara's eyes were fixed, and he raised his hands and shook them hard. A gravitational force burst out. How about this? Base. A pair of ninja weapons burst out of the ground, towards Miyamoto, who was blown up in the sky, killing the sky and covering the sky. With a sneer, Miyamoto didn't mind at all. Repulsion. Raise your hand and press. The repulsive force of precise manipulation acts on these weapons. Under the interaction of the two forces, these damaged weapons and ninja tools were directly shattered and turned into powder. Gravitational. Raising one's hand and holding it is only acting on Uchiha Madara's body. While the huge gravitational force suppresses the movement of his body, it absorbs it. Fire-style dragon fire technique. Uchiha Madara, who also possesses repulsive and gravitational forces, seals directly and spews out the dragon fire. Facing the Haolonghuo technique that he is familiar with, Miyamoto's left hand still has the gravitational force, and his right hand stretches behind him. The Chakra Teidao that was just absorbed by universal pull is directly in his hand, and one hand seals instantly. Lightning-style supersonic lightning-style knife. Facing the 300 dragon fire technique, he rushed out in an instant, the Chakra Teidao in his hand shone with dazzling light, and he cut down with one blow. Clang, puff. As soon as the knife light passed, time seemed to be stagnant, and the figure of Miyamoto appeared behind Uchiha Madara. The eyes were deflected, and Uchiha Madara's face remained unchanged. He sensed Miyamoto behind him, looked at the Haolonghuo technique that was cut open by a stroke, and the scar that split his body in two. With a fixed gaze and a hand seal, Uchiha Madara said, "You are too careless." Fire-style chakra explosion. Boom. The terrifying explosion wave directly formed a huge pothole on the ground. Uchiha Madara's body, recondensed around the pothole, spoke calmly. Really, raising his gaze, he looked to the front. Miyamoto was squatting on a huge rock, looking at Uchiha Madara calmly, with no scars on his body. Uchiha Madara's faint opening, with a serious face. "If I die like that, I will be ashamed of this fight." Jung. In response to Uchiha Madara's, not an answer, but Miyamoto's tachi. The two fought together in an instant. The confrontation of the peak physical skills, the two people's figures, you come and go, fell into anxiety. P.S. This is Chapter 107. Thank you for your support. Chapter 108 Simply Disgusting You 4/5. Chapter 108. Bang, 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 bang. A series of sparks erupted. Uchiha Madara's figure kept retreating, picked up some katana from the battlefield, and kept fighting with Miyamoto. Ding, click. The dagger in his hand broke again. Uchiha Madara's figure, a few backflips, distanced himself from Miyamoto, and threw away the broken dagger, with a displeased face. Fighting against an existence like you. Weapons that didn't matter before have become quite important. At this moment, Uchiha Madara does not have any weapons at hand, so the taijutsu duel is directly suppressed. With a sneer, Miyamoto looked up at Uchiha Madara and said with a mocking face, "Don't call me mean. After all, this is war." Hearing Miyamoto's words, Uchiha Madara, who has always been haughty, twitched his mouth and looked at Miyamoto. "Just now, I was very puzzled, can you explain it?" As if seeing that Uchiha Madara has no plans to fight for the time being, Miyamoto pondered for a while, and temporarily accepted the plan to continue fighting. "Yes. But if you want to ask me about my strength, I think it's better to continue fighting." Without any fear of Uchiha Madara's fighting power, Miyamoto looked at Uchiha Madara with a chuckle on his face. Facing Miyamoto, Uchiha Madara also knew that it was impossible for Miyamoto to tell the secret of his eyes. But what he wants to know is not this: a proud man like Uchiha Madara would test it himself, and of course he wouldn't mind if Miyamoto spoke up. First question. Uchiha Madara looked at Miyamoto, frowning. "You know me very well, but at your age, you probably don't know me, so how did you know me?" "Sure enough, this is the question." Miyamoto smiled and looked at Uchiha Madara. "This question is simple, because we are the same people." The Tensigen in the eye shifts from the position of the pupil, and the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan opens directly, transforming from the Tensigen to the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Looking slightly stagnant, looking at Miyamoto, Uchiha Madara's face showed a dignified color. "That's how it is. No wonder. Did you see it? The stone tablet in the Uchiha clan land. You have the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan." Having said this, after a pause, Uchiha Madara looked at Miyamoto. "No, your eyes should be starting to turn towards Rinnegan?" Shaking his head, Miyamoto didn't answer the question. I refused to answer this question. Looking at Miyamoto, Uchiha Madara was pondering, his eyes flickered, and he didn't know what he was thinking. Although Uchiha Madara didn't speak, but Miyamoto can roughly know that Uchiha Madara is thinking about something, nothing more than worrying whether he will hinder the plan.
Well, as for learning what you said. A smile appeared on Miyamoto's face, and after drawing Uchiha Madara's attention, he opened his mouth and said. I just want to discuss you. You are the second person from the Uchiha clan that I have my eyes on. The first one, of course, is Uchiha Itachi, which has nothing to do with strength, but just personal arbitrariness and preference. Miyamoto's words made Uchiha Madara stunned for a moment, and then grinned. Huh, someone actually ranked above my Madara. I'm a little curious about the Uchiha you mentioned. Is his strength stronger than mine? Shaking his head, Miyamoto said.
Not as strong as you, but fighting him should be very hard. These words made Uchiha Madara's face icy cold, his eyes flickering with murderous intent, looking at Miyamoto. You mean, it's easy to fight me? Shaking his head again, Miyamoto spoke with a solemn expression on his face. So far, among the people who have fought with me, no one is as strong as you. Miyamoto. May I call you the strongest? After the voice fell, Miyamoto's eternal Mangekyo Sharingan spun slightly, and a burst of pupil power blessed him, and a thunder flashed on his body.
Lightning style Lei Shun. Bang. Miyamoto's figure instantly came in front of Uchiha Madara, the fist directly hits Uchiha Madara's head.
Next, you will be sealed. Facing this terrifying punch, Uchiha Madara's Rinnegan accurately captured the trajectory of Miyamoto's attack, but before he could react, Miyamoto's fist had already landed on him. Boom. Whoosh. Rumble. In front of Miyamoto, a terrifying gully appeared directly and spread into the distance. Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan's terrifying insight directly locked on the other end of the ravine. Uchiha Madara's body was directly pierced by a punch, and the two looked at each other in the air. Uchiha Madara didn't care about his broken body. Very strong Masashi's strength, comparable to Hashirama and me in the heyday. No, maybe even more than that. With my current strength, although I have immortality and infinite chakra, but facing him, there is no chance. Impure world reincarnation is indeed a bug, but once it is sealed, it will be declared over, especially in the face of a strong man like Miyamoto. Uchiha Madara knows that if Miyamoto is determined to seal himself, the success rate will be at least 60%. If you can't fight, retreat first. The reason why he is called a hero is that it proves that this person will never be obsessed with. Eyes flickering, Uchiha Madara raised his eyes and met Miyamoto's eyes for a moment, and directly raised his hands to seal. Wood-style birth of the tree realm. Wood-style flower tree world is coming. Boom. Countless giant trees emerged from the ground, and in a blink of an eye, a huge forest stretching for hundreds of miles was formed. More than a dozen huge flowers bloomed directly, and poisonous powder scattered all over the sky towards the place where Miyamoto was. Frowning, Miyamoto leapt away, held his breath, and came directly to a big tree. He raised his eyes and looked in the direction of Uchiha Madara. More than a dozen clones jumped out and sealed. Fire-style huge fire extinction. More than a dozen rockets directly bombarded the forest in front of Miyamoto, blocking Miyamoto's sight at the same time. Buzz buzz. More than a dozen full-body Susanos stand on top of the tree world, drawing their knives at the same time. Boom. Wang La Jiao. In the direction where Miyamoto is, the earth, mountains and rivers have been ravaged again. Amidst the smoke and dust, an unscathed figure rushed into the air. Miyamoto raised his hand and grasped it, looked at the dozens of clones, his eyes were fixed, and had already turned into Tenseigan, raised his hand and grasped it, and on the palm of Miyamoto's hand, the golden sword just now condensed again. I really didn't expect that you would run away. Hearing this sentence, the clone of Uchiha Madara spoke directly. Whatever you say, fighting against a strong man like you, running away is not a shameful thing. This time, even if you win. When I finish the plan, at that time, I will show you the strength of Sage of Six Paths. Musashi. I'm waiting for you. Hearing this, Miyamoto showed a smile on his face, his eyes fixed, and his fetal hands swept across. Golden wheels explode. P.S. To be continued. This is Chapter 108. Thank you for your support. Thank you very much. Chapter 109. The battle is over. 5/5. Chapter 109. Jung. The golden light blade directly sliced Susanoo's head flat. Its attack power can be seen as Madara. Susanoo's defense power is absolutely unparalleled in the world. The golden wheel's life explosion can break it open with one blow, which is worthy of the word powerful and ultimate move. After flying out of the range of the tree world in an instant, Miyamoto stood on a high place, forming a mudra with one hand, and a thought directly contacted the contact department. I'm Miyamoto, and I'm requesting to speak to Tsunade-sama. In the headquarters, Yamanaka had a normal face at first, but in the next moment, a voice directly contacted him, and he recognized Miyamoto's voice directly. In connection with the dialogue, Yamanaka responded directly. Please wait. After saying this sentence, Yamanaka raised his head and spoke directly. Master Tsunade, a contact from Musashi has arrived. Tsunade, who was watching the current war situation, changed his face, stood up, and came to Yamanaka Haiichi.
How is it going? Yamanaka didn't talk nonsense. He raised his finger. Tsunade closed his eyes when he saw this, and under Yamanaka's spiritual force, Tsunade spoke directly. Musashi, how are you doing? After hearing Tsunade's voice in consciousness, Miyamoto's face was flat.
Sorry. .000. Uchiha Madara's seal failed and he escaped. Miyamoto's voice sounded, making Tsunade's face slightly tense, and his fists clenched loudly. What about you? You're not hurt. As the only member of his clan, Tsunade is sure that he cares about Miyamoto. After all, Miyamoto faces the legendary figure alone, and Tsunade will inevitably have some worries. No. I'm not injured, it's just that I'm exhausted. I may need to be late for the next battle. Uchiha Madara escaped. According to my guess, he should have escaped to the battlefield of Killer Bee and Naruto. If you can, you should go to support. I guess there will be the final battlefield. So, after finishing speaking, Miyamoto directly cut off the contact, opened his eyes, and his eyes flickered slightly. Of course Uchiha Madara will not seal it, because the birth of 10 tails depends on Uchiha Madara, and the resurrection of Ōtsutsuki Kaguya also depends on Uchiha Madara. Whether it's 10 tails or Ōtsutsuki Kaguya, Miyamoto has something he wants to copy. Looking at the chances of copying that have been resumed 3 times in his mind, a smile appeared on Miyamoto's face. The final battle. I really want to know what it will look like. As soon as he thought of this, Miyamoto's eyes suddenly focused, and his body left the spot in an instant. A figure suddenly appeared behind Miyamoto's position just now, and punched Miyamoto's position with a punch. Thorn. The figure appeared on the other side, and Miyamoto looked at second Tsuchikage who attacked him from behind just now. His gaze was similar to that of third Hokage before. Miyamoto spoke directly, looking at the bag, his face was extremely calm. You are really haunted, but do you think you can kill me by controlling second Tsuchikage, which is only half a bucket of water? Hearing Miyamoto's words, Yakushi Kabuto, who controls Wu, had a sneer on his face, and then said. Saw. Who knows? In the battle with that lord, although you, Musashi, have the upper hand, your consumption is not small. I can feel, your breath is starting to get weaker. Smiling contemptuously, Miyamoto looked at the other party's gaze, as if looking directly at the pocket behind the scenes manipulating second Tsuchikage. I said, did you make a mistake? It is true that I was exhausted in the battle with Madara. To some extent, as you said, I became weaker. His eyes sank, he looked directly at second Tsuchikage Wu, and a thunder light lit up on his body. Oops. The moment he saw the thunder light on Miyamoto's body, Yakushi Kabuto's expression changed, and when he was about to manipulate Wu's body to dodge, Miyamoto's figure had already appeared above Wu. BHBJ. His eyes were indifferent, but his eyes seemed to be looking at the pockets behind the scenes, Ben said. Too slow. Boom. Miyamoto's shot was as fast as lightning, and he didn't use any other tricks, just slashed with the Chakra Teidao in his hand, and at the same time, he chopped second Tsuchikage's body to pieces and was sent flying to a tree. Raising his hand, several branches directly covered his body, affixed a seal, and slowly sealed the body. Meeting the eyes of Yakushi Kabuto who manipulated second Tsuchikage, Miyamoto said lightly. It is true that I have become weaker, but this does not mean that you have become stronger. After sealing second Tsuchikage, Miyamoto's face showed a sigh of relief, and he twisted his neck. It's so tiring. After glancing at the battlefield here, Miyamoto walked slowly in another direction. Although the consumption is really high, Miyamoto's physical fitness is strong, and his body is recovering quickly. Miyamoto walked towards the battlefield of the final battle with a flat face. With the time, it has entered the night, looked up at the full moon in the sky, Miyamoto's eyes flickered slightly. Tonight is the decisive battle. During the decisive battle, many things will happen. Whether there will be any changes now, Miyamoto can't tell. But in general, no change can stop Miyamoto's determination. Copy Goyu Rinnegan, copy 10 Tails, copy Ōtsutsuki Kaguya's immortal body. After doing these 3 things, the overall situation is basically settled. Huh? Temari. Miyamoto's face showed doubts, and he raised his eyes to look in front of him. Temari's breath quickly approached. Not long after, Miyamoto saw Temari wearing a vest and carrying a 3-star fan behind his back. Temari had a smile on his face when he saw Miyamoto. Musashi. Coming to Miyamoto's side, Temari's face showed a reassuring color. It's fine. While speaking, Temari looked at Miyamoto's body. Except for the dust from the battle, there was nothing wrong with other places. This also means no injuries. Her eyes flickered, although she knew that Miyamoto was very strong, but being able to resist the attack just now without being injured was enough to prove that Miyamoto's strength was stronger than she imagined. Well, let's go. Without asking what Temari did here, he raised his hand to straighten a few loose hairs in front of Temari's forehead, and then Miyamoto spoke. Following behind Miyamoto, Temari's face turned red, and she followed behind Miyamoto without speaking. Didn't ask Miyamoto why he went slowly. Any fool knows that the battle just now was absolutely exhausting. P.S. This is Chapter 109. Thank you for your support. Thank you very much. Chapter 110 Uchiha rebounds 1/5 Chapter 110 Suddenly, in the night sky, From all directions, there appeared beams of light that shot straight into the sky, and they were clearly visible thousands of miles away. Temari frowned, and said, "What is that?" Hearing Temari's question, Miyamoto's eyes flickered. Looking at the beams of light rising into the sky, Miyamoto's eyes flickered slightly. As expected of a ferret, that's a sign that reanimation jutsu is lifted. Temari, rest while walking. I'm afraid the battle on the other side is about to begin.
Hearing Miyamoto's words, Temari responded, and everything that follows Miyamoto directly, neither fast nor slow, is moving in a certain direction. The real war begins now. The battle continues. The final battlefield, quite terrifying, unbeatable enemies, whether it is Uchiha Obito, or Uchiha Madara. Or it is a new one that uses Yamato's body and can use wood style. These three formed a combination that completely suppressed the coalition forces, plus 10 tails, who had already entered a revived state.
Greatest crisis in history totally suppressed. With the Uchiha round fan on his back, holding his hands together, looking at the exhausted Hokage, Uchiha Madara looked disdainful. Is this the ninja who bears the name of 5 cages? With all due respect, compared to Musashi, your strength is really pitifully weak.
Hearing Uchiha Madara's words, the faces of the 5 Tsunade were serious, and they looked at Uchiha Madara. Indeed, our strength is not as strong as Musashi, but today we risk our lives and seal you up. Hearing Tsunade's words, Uchiha Madara turned to Tsunade. So that's how it is. I see. If you really have such will, then I will approve of you. Granddaughter of Hashirama, but as a price, I, Madara, will fight with all my strength, so you guys are awakened. The terrifying chakra broke out, and Uchiha Madara's face showed seriousness.
Now, I don't have time to play with you, that guy Musashi. It should be here. Crack. Two-handed mudra, Uchiha Madara wrote to everyone. Before he comes, I will kill you all. Wood-style birth of the tree world. Rumble. With the completion of Uchiha Madara's printing, a huge chakra erupted, overwhelming the tree world, attacking the 5 of Tsunade, and spreading directly, encircling the others. Seeing Uchiha Madara's wood style, Tsunade and the others froze for a moment, then quickly dispersed. Wood style. Why? Tsunade's face was full of surprise. Uchiha Madara actually knew wood style. Swish. At the moment Tsunade was shocked, a figure came directly in front of her. On the battlefield, don't you dare to distract yourself. Are you looking down on me, Madara? Tsunade was startled by Uchiha Madara's indifferent opening. What? Suffered. One of Susanoo's arms appeared on his body, and a sneer appeared on Uchiha Madara's face.
It's too late. In an instant, a long knife appeared on Susanoo's arm, directly attacking Tsunade's abdomen head-on, intending to kill him. Big Ball Rasengan. At this moment, a golden figure rushed over from one side, and a big ball Rasengan appeared in his hand, which directly hit Susanoo's blade, deflected its attack track, grabbed Tsunade's arm, and threw it out. A look of surprise appeared on Tsunade's face seeing Uzumaki Naruto save him. Puff. But in the next moment, Uzumaki Naruto's body was chopped off by Uchiha Madara. Naruto. Tsunade's pupils shrank, and he called out. Boom. The severed body turned into a puff of smoke. Tsunade's figure flipped in the air and fell to the ground. Looking at Uchiha Madara with a solemn face, with cold sweat falling down, Tsunade has some fears. But in the next moment, Tsunade's eyes fell on Uzumaki Naruto who charged at Uchiha Madara. With a small-tailed beast bomb in his hand, Uzumaki Naruto raised his hand to attack Uchiha Madara with anger on his face.
A dead person, don't make trouble. While speaking, he hit the tailed beast bomb in his hand directly at Uchiha Madara. Facing Uzumaki Naruto's attack, Uchiha Madara's expression remained unchanged, and he directly drew out the Uchiha round fan behind him and blocked it in front of him. The tailed beast bomb hit the Uchiha fan. Boom. The terrifying force between the two caused the ground under Uchiha Madara's feet to vibrate, creating an air wave. The tailed beast bomb didn't explode. Uzumaki Naruto looked at Uchiha Madara with a puzzled look on his face. Ask for flowers, with a mocking smile on the corner of his mouth, Uchiha Madara turned his wrist, and Uchiha's round fan faced Uzumaki Naruto who hadn't landed yet, in a flash. Uchiha. Rebound. Boom. A terrifying explosion shockwave erupted from the fan, and Uzumaki Naruto was hit head on under Uzumaki Naruto's staring eyes. Uzumaki Naruto's body was directly blasted out. On the way, Uzumaki Naruto's body turned into a puff of smoke. Shadow Clone has been used to a certain height by Uzumaki Naruto. Damn it. Doesn't this guy have any weaknesses? The main body stood beside Gaara. Uzumaki Naruto's face showed a dignified color. Kurama, this guy, how do you fight? Uzumaki Naruto asked in his heart. Just as the voice fell, he dodged for a moment. Among the trees under Uzumaki Naruto's feet, branches suddenly protruded and entangled directly towards him. Raised his hand, condensed to Rasengan. Uzumaki Naruto raised his hand and attacked. Rasengan. Boom. Rasengan's attack directly blocked the branch's attack. Uchiha Madara. The power of this guy is beyond estimation. With Nine-Tails expression on his face, Taguchi said. As far as I know, the only opponent this guy loses is first Hokage. Naruto. Be careful, wait for Miyamoto Musashi. With your current strength, there is no chance of winning.
Hearing Nine-Tails' words, Uzumaki Naruto's face was serious, recalling Miyamoto's appearance in his mind, he gritted his teeth. I see. Miyamoto. Uzumaki Naruto has never denied his strength. From the very beginning, Miyamoto has been growing up under his generation. Even now that he has mastered the power of Nine-Tails, Uzumaki Naruto is still very clear. The distance didn't get closer, but got farther. Uchiha Madara, who doesn't pay attention to them, needs to treat Miyamoto Musashi quite seriously. From this, one can imagine how big the gap is.
Swish. Uzumaki Naruto, who had already made a decision in his heart, moved in an instant, and quickly rushed towards Uchiha Madara, forming seals with both hands. Multiple Shadow Clone Technique. P.S. This is Chapter 110, thank you for your support, thank you very much. Chapter 111 The Legend is the Legend 2/5 Chapter 111. Big Ball Rasengan. Uzumaki Naruto's combat intuition is quite strong. After seeing the birth of the tree world, he only made the first attack, and he knew that the birth of the tree world would cause huge casualties to the people present.
First of all, this wood style should be solved. Ninja. Great Jade Helix with Maru. In an instant, countless Big Ball Rasengan directly bombarded the tree world's Christmas, smashing the entire tree world's Christmas from the middle. Seeing what Uzumaki Naruto did, he couldn't help but smile. Quite an idea. Rely on Nine-Tails chakra. And have your own chakra. This ant is still interesting. With the mudra directly on the hand, Uchiha Madara looked at Uzumaki Naruto. How about this? Wood style flower tree realm comes. Wood style wood dragon technique. 820.
With one hand, several huge wooden dragons directly attacked Uzumaki Naruto's shadow clone with unparalleled strength and speed. Discovered Uchiha Madara's attack, Onoki's face changed slightly, he raised his hand, which was filled with dust, and looked at the other four shadows at the same time. Everyone. Block the wood dragon's attack on Naruto. If we don't destroy the tree world, we will be very passive.
Dust escape primary realm stripping technique. The transparent light array directly hit the wooden dragon, smashing the huge body of the wooden dragon into two halves. Did you make it? But at the next moment Onoki was dumbfounded, the wooden dragon that was cut off into two pieces, but in the next moment, recondensed into two ends with the same body shape. Under Onoki's reminder, Gaara shot directly, and the terrifying sand formed a big sand wave, overturning the bodies of several wooden dragons.
Although blocking the wooden dragon's movement, Gaara's expression changed. I can't go on like this. Wooden dragon will absorb chakra. Hearing Gaara's words, Tsunade came directly to Gaara's side, and the huge amount of chakra poured directly into Gaara's body. If you just support for a while, you can still do it, Gaara. With a fixed gaze, Gaara's face is serious, I know. Super Sandstorm Burial. Rumble. The terrifying yellow sand was used from the ground and flooded a lot of the tree world. Just like the desertification of the land, the sand not only attached to the wooden dragon, even the tree world was also weathered and then submerged. Tsunade's and Gaara's attacks were not useless. There was a sneer on Uchiha Madara's face, and he didn't make a move, but his eyes fell behind everyone. Is the tail beast a dog cannon? In response to Uchiha Madara's words, Uzumaki Naruto, who has turned into a tailed beast, swallowed a huge tailed beast bomb in front of the huge nine tails. Tail beast. Gun. Boom. The terrifying virtual dog cannon that destroyed everything was quite terrifying. Under the control of Uzumaki Naruto and Nine Tails, they dispersed their attacks and directly cleared a large open space. Uchiha Madara and Uchiha Obito, who were unscathed, completely withstood the attack of the virtual dog cannon without even moving a step. Nothing happened. Seeing this situation, Uzumaki Naruto gritted his teeth, put Nine Tails' tail, put the rolled up 5 cages beside him, and began to think about how to fight with a serious face. Uchiha Madara looked at Uzumaki Naruto, who turned into a tailed beast, his eyes were fixed, his body flickered slightly, and he rushed out instantly. It's finally here. Although it's okay without turning into a tailed beast, but this way, it's easier after all. Swish. Immediately rushing over, Uzumaki Naruto and others stared solemnly at Uchiha Madara's actions. So fast. With a huge gap in strength, Uzumaki Naruto couldn't catch Uchiha Madara's figure at all, and his face changed drastically. Naruto, take me instead. The voice of Nine Tails, recalled directly inside Uzumaki Naruto's body. You still don't understand this guy's fighting style, watch it carefully, I'll leave it to you later. Just after Nine Tails finished speaking, the consciousness of the two of them changed directly. Under Nine Tails' consciousness, although Uchiha Madara's figure was not captured, the beast's instinct made Nine Tails directly strike towards the front with one paw. Quote exclamation mark quote. Boom. A giant skeleton hand directly blocked Nine Tails' claws, and then Uchiha Madara's figure spun to meet Nine Tails' eyes, and looked at Nine Tails with a sneer. Nine Tails. All the same. One-handed mudra, Uchiha Madara sneered. Wood-style wood dragon technique. Boom.
A wooden dragon broke through the ground from where Ninetales was, and directly bound Ninetales' waist.
It's over. Uchiha Madara's eyes were flat, and he looked up at Ninetales' huge body. When he raised his hand, a huge black stick was formed, and it was about to be inserted into Ninetales' tailed beast body. How could it end so easily? The voice of Ninetales sounded, and then the huge tailed beast body disappeared directly, controlling the body of Uzumaki Naruto, and brought it directly in front of Uchiha Madara. Madara, with lightning speed, he dodged the black stick's attack, and condensed an oversized Rasengan in his hand, which was much bigger than Uzumaki Naruto's body, mixed with tailed beast bomb chakra, and directly attacked Madara past. It's useless. Facing this attack, Uchiha Madara didn't even dodge, and raised his own body.
Sealing technique absorption. While absorbing the attack, Uchiha Madara had a sneer on his face.
You are destined to be the nourishment of 10 tails, 9 tails. As soon as the voice fell, the figure of Uzumaki Naruto directly broke through Rasengan's attack and rushed directly in front of Uchiha Madara. I reject. While speaking, Uzumaki Naruto's body raised up and punched.
Boom. Hit Uchiha Madara's head fiercely. With huge force, Uchiha Madara was blasted out.
Boom. After a big hole fell on the ground, Uchiha Madara's body was slightly scattered with dust, and the surrounding sand was directly on top of Uchiha Madara under Gaara's control, wrapping layer after layer, and then affixed a seal. Successful. 4.2 In the sealed space, Uzumaki Naruto showed surprise on his face, looked at Uchiha Madara who had been sealed, and said with a smile.
Turning to Ninetales, have yours, Kurama. However, compared to Uzumaki Naruto's happy face, Ninetales' face is quite serious, with frowning. Be careful, Naruto, that guy, it's Madara. Sealed so easily, he is no longer the legendary existence. Hearing Ninetales' words, Uzumaki Naruto was taken aback for a moment, then his happy face disappeared, and he looked at the seal with vigilance. Puff. There was a sound of a sharp knife entering the body, and then Tsunade slowly lowered his head to look at his abdomen with unbelievable eyes. A Susanoo sharp knife pierced through her body. P.S. This is Chapter 111. Thank you all for your support, thank you very much. Chapter 112 Kill you, give him a surprise 3/5. Chapter 112. Cough. A mouthful of blood spat out, Tsunade's body trembled slightly, and his face turned pale. Hokage, Onoki and the others, who were dodging just now, looked at Tsunade in shock and exclaimed.
Oops. Granny Tsunade. After the consciousness of Ninetales was exchanged by Naruto, she looked at Tsunade who was pierced by Susanoo's great sword with a dazed face. Why? With a sneer on his face, Uchiha Madara is surrounded by a skeleton of Susanoo, looking at Tsunade's back. So you are far behind. Uchiha Madara's voice sounded from behind, full of disdain. Are you overly concerned about my wood clone? Well, this is a clone technique developed by Hashirama. It is more difficult to distinguish than shadow clone. It is normal that you can't recognize it. This technique, so far, has only seen through me, and probably Musashi. It's normal that you can't see through. After saying this, 17 Uchiha Madara was about to withdraw Susanoo's arm. Click. Feeling the body straightened instantly, both hands grabbed Susanoo's blade. Drink. Using both hands, he directly broke Susanoo's blade, held it in his hand, turned his body, and this half of the blade, with a terrifying gust of wind, slashed directly at Uchiha Madara behind him. Go to hell. Clang. The terrifying power directly made Susanoo's broken blade cut into Susanoo's defense. Huh? This power is slightly worse than Musashi's. Uchiha Madara's eyes flickered as he saw the Duan Ren who was about to cut into his body. Drink. Regardless of the huge wound on his body, Tsunade's face was full of sternness, and he approached Uchiha Madara instantly. Break it. Boom. The fist bombarded directly on Susanoo, and a huge force radiated out. Lateral bolt of pain. Chop. The figure of fourth Hokage appeared behind Uchiha Madara in an instant, and the fierce sword in his hand blasted directly behind Uchiha Madara. The front and rear two terrifying forces directly shattered Uchiha Madara's Susanoo. It's now. Tsunade shouted loudly, the chakra on his body erupted, and the wound on his body healed quickly. A golden figure instantly came to Uchiha Madara's head. Uzumaki Naruto's hand did not condense chakra, but blasted Uchiha Madara with his fist firmly. Seeing this trick, Uchiha Madara raised his hands. Shenluo Tianzhong. Bang. The terrifying repulsion not only blasted Tsunade and Hokage away, but also resisted Uzumaki Naruto's attack. Looking at Uzumaki Naruto who was imprisoned in the air, Uchiha Madara sneered. Mere Jinchuriki. Don't be too crazy. While speaking, Uchiha Madara's body jumped up, grabbed Uzumaki Naruto's neck with one hand, and pinched hard. A cough. Coughing successively, Uzumaki Naruto spat out a mouthful of blood. A repulsive force from the palm acted directly on Uzumaki Naruto's body. Boom. The nine tails chakra mode of the body was directly forcibly broken up, and the body spit out several mouthfuls of blood in the air. Naruto.
Tsunade looked at Uzumaki Naruto's body flying upside down, his expression changed, and he came behind Uzumaki Naruto in an instant and sent Uzumaki Naruto back home without injury. Flying hundreds of meters before landing, Tsunade looked at Uzumaki Naruto with an anxious look on his face. Are you all right? Shaking his head, he stood up firmly. It can't fall yet. The vitality of the Nine Tails chakra and the Uzumaki clan is strong, which is reflected in the fact that although they are injured, they are recovering quickly. Glancing in the distance, Uzumaki Naruto stood up with difficulty. Uchiha Madara showed a sneer of disdain, and turned to look at Tsunade. Your strange power is slightly worse than Musashi's, but they are exactly the same. You. What's the relationship with Musashi? Hearing Uchiha Madara's question, Tsunade stood up with serious eyes.
His strange power fist was learned from me. After hearing this answer, Uchiha Madara nodded. So that's it. Do you have a master-student relationship? And it seems that the relationship is quite good. Then I decided to kill you. Take it as a measurement, Musashi's strength.
Swish. In an instant, the figure of Uchiha Madara came quickly in front of Tsunade and Uzumaki Naruto. Facing Uchiha Madara, Uzumaki Naruto's face was startled, and he punched out. Dodging Uzumaki Naruto's fist sideways, Uchiha Madara glanced at it, raised his hand and directly grabbed Uzumaki Naruto's shoulder, turned around, pulled Uzumaki Naruto's body, and smashed directly into the ground. Looking up, he saw Tsunade's strange power fist attacking. Uchiha Madara smiled coldly. I will accept your life. Grasping the sickle on the round fan behind him with one hand, Uchiha Madara dodged the fist while raising the knife towards Tsunade's neck to kill. Although ninja art, meiotic regeneration is indeed very strong, but you can eat it if you turn around. Ahem, you should die anyway. Oops. With a sense of fatal crisis, Tsunade's face turned pale. Uchiha Madara's attack speed was quite fast, and Tsunade couldn't dodge this slash.
Just at this time, Thorn. The blade was covered with lightning, and the Chakra Teidao created a vacuum, directly cut off Uchiha Madara's attacking hand, and nailed it to the ground fiercely. On Tsunade's neck, a cloud of sand appeared directly, blocking the inertial attack of Sickle 957. And it directly wrapped the bodies of Tsunade and Uzumaki Naruto, and took them away instantly. Gaara raised her hand, with cold sweat streaming down her face. She breathed a sigh of relief. Catch up. After the attack was interrupted, Uchiha Madara waited for his arm to recover, picked up his weapon, and did not continue to attack. Turning to look at the Chakra Teidao with lightning, he turned his head, with a serious face, and looked in the direction where the sword flew just now. Come yet. With a faint opening, Uchiha Madara's face was solemn. Zzz. The sound of electric current sounded, the chakra sword deeply nailed into the rock, the electric current on it suddenly increased sharply, and then flew back directly. Crack. One hand holds the Chakra Teidao. Miyamoto's body in armor appeared in the eyes of everyone, holding a sword in one hand. Miyamoto squatted on a floating stone, looking at Uchiha Madara. Madara. Let's continue the battle just now. While saying this, Miyamoto glanced at Gaara. After getting a signal from Miyamoto, Gaara didn't say a word, directly supported the others with the sand, and flew into the air. Musashi, the seal of Madara, I leave it to you. Slightly nodding his head, Naomoto looked sharply. Well, leave it to me. P.S. This is Chapter 112, thank you for your support, thank you very much. Chapter 113 Susanoo fights 4/5 Chapter 113, too slow, Musashi. Not caring that Gaara took the others away, Uchiha Madara looked at Miyamoto, tightened Uchiha's Uchiha fan with both hands, and said. How about it? Is it almost recovered? If it starts. Then let's dance. Bang. After the words fell, Miyamoto's eyes flashed, and a black shadow appeared directly in front of him. Swish. The blade of the sickle slashed toward Miyamoto's head. Facing such an attack, a smile flashed across Miyamoto's face, and he raised the chakra sword in his hand. Clang. The flames exploded, Miyamoto and Uchiha Madara stared at each other, and Tensegan and Rinnegan collided with each other. Where the eyes intertwine, there is a faint sense of spatial distortion. This time, not the last time, whether it was Miyamoto or Uchiha Madara, they both started to fight to the death. Despite what Miyamoto said, of all plans, Uchiha Madara is needed. But releasing water now is tantamount to asking for a dead end. Clang. After avoiding the other party at the same time, Miyamoto's gaze froze, and his hands instantly sealed. Wind-style Great Breakthrough, almost instantaneous Great Breakthrough technique, sweeping Uchiha Madara directly. Facing such a move, Uchiha Madara raised his hand, Uchiha's ball fan blocked in front of him. After absorbing the Great Breakthrough, he fanned out towards Miyamoto. Uchiha bounce. Facing the Great Breakthrough coming towards him, Miyamoto's second technique has been completed. Fire-style Dragon Fire technique. The dragon fire that engulfed the Great Breakthrough technique became even more terrifying, burning directly towards Uchiha Madara. Have you figured it out? Frowning slightly, Uchiha Madara dodged Miyamoto's attack for a moment. When I looked at Miyamoto's position again, I lost Miyamoto's figure. Where will it come from? Uchiha Madara's face was more solemn than ever. Rinnegan kept scanning the surroundings, and suddenly looked down.
Below backquote. Using the repulsive force, Uchiha Madara's body went straight to the sky, and at the same time threw a black stick made by hand, piercing through the place where he was standing just now. Crash. A hole was revealed, and the figure of Miyamoto who had finished printing looked at him. Fire-style Huo extinguishing cut. Boom. Like an umbrella-shaped terrifying flame shock wave, it bombarded Uchiha Madara in the sky. It's useless. Raising a hand, the fire like a sea of fire was extinguished, and was directly absorbed by Uchiha Madara. Squinting his eyes slightly, the chakra on Miyamoto's body was condensed to the extreme, and the terrifying heat wave made the air heat up continuously. The repulsive force was activated, and Miyamoto's figure appeared directly in the sky.
Madara. How about this move? After saying this, the sky suddenly started to rain. A cloud of lightning-style chakra appeared in Miyamoto's hand, directly pulling the natural lightning in the rainy day. Lightning-style Kirin. Sting. Thunderlight flashed. Miyamoto's hand made a slight move, the sky suddenly lit up, and the terrifying and vast natural thunder and lightning power condensed. Boom. The thunder in the sky fell, and the explosion wave was clearly audible in the distance.
A medium-sized mushroom cloud rushed into the sky, and in a huge pothole with a radius of 2,000 meters, Susanoo of Uchiha Madara's mature body appeared there. With serious eyes, Miyamoto looked at Uchiha Madara. Is it finally here? This time, no wood style. Miyamoto opened his mouth, and the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan was directly formed in his eyes, and the huge, complete golden Susanoo stood in front of Uchiha Madara's eyes. One head, one pair of arms, two legs, Utengu armor, there is no difference in any of these, the difference lies in the sword at the waist of Miyamoto's Susanoo. This is the only exclusive weapon of Miyamoto's Susanoo, the Fudo Yuhun, one of the legendary 3 artifacts with the power to kill gods. Seeing that Miyamoto used the full-body Susanoo, Uchiha Madara sneered. Then let's have a try and see whose strength is better. When Uchiha Madara spoke, she also used the full body of Susanoo. 2 behemoths that were almost as tall as a mountain appeared on the battlefield, naturally attracting everyone's attention. To deal with Uchiha Obito and Ju's ninja allied forces, they all involuntarily looked at the battlefield between Miyamoto and Uchiha Madara. The next moment, in the eyes of everyone, both Miyamoto and Uchiha Madara controlled Susanoo to draw a sword at the same time. Jung. The sound of the knife being unsheathed sounded. Clang. The 2 knives collided, and 2 extremely terrifying sword chi slashed out in all directions. Just for a moment. Bomb. All the mountains visible to the naked eye on the entire battlefield were destroyed just because of this first collision. This rewriting of the combat effectiveness of the map not only made the Ninja Alliance look terrified, but even Uchiha Obito's face became quite dignified. Looking at the battlefield of Uchiha Madara and Miyamoto, my heart sank slightly. Continue like this. Cannot be done. While speaking, Uchiha Obito glanced at Ten Tails, who was still in the revived state, with a solemn expression. If you don't try. Looking at Kakashi and others in front of him in a blink of an eye, killing intent appeared in Uchiha Obito's eyes. Those who stand in my way die. With just the first cut, Miyamoto felt quite a bit of pressure. Logically speaking, everyone is a perfect Susanoo, so the gap should not be too big. But think about it carefully, the gap between Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan and Rinnegan. Not your average size. Musashi, your Susanoo, is a little different. As Uchiha Madara, who often drives Susanoo and has been playing since the Sengoku era until now, she can see the weirdness of Miyamoto's Susanoo at a glance. Your Susanoo. It feels like it hasn't reached its final form yet. His eyes flickered slightly, Miyamoto didn't answer, and manipulated Susanoo to do it directly. Let's fight. While speaking, Miyamoto has manipulated Susanoo, Mo Jiao, to almost rush towards Uchiha Madara. Uchiha Madara is also looking dignified directly. Clang. Although Susanoo is very large, she is quite flexible under the control of Miyamoto and Uchiha Madara. The 2 figures are constantly intertwined. A swing of the knife or a slash will inevitably leave huge knife marks on the ground, and at the same time, some mountain ranges will be directly cut off and flattened. Clang. After the 2 Susanoos once again fought each other, Miyamoto's right eye flickered, and he strengthened his own strength. This knife slashed, and the huge force directly cut off Uchiha Madara's Susanoo's knife, and at the same time, he slashed at Susanoo's stretched out cross on the resisting arm.
Lie down. Huge and terrifying force directly crushed Uchiha Madara's Susanoo to the ground. Miyamoto's gaze was serious. Susanoo pressed Uchiha Madara with one hand, and raised the other hand to pay. P.S. This is Chapter 113, thank you for your support. Chapter 114 Special Susan 5/5 Chapter 114, 8-foot Chonguyu. In Miyamoto's eyes, the light in the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan radiates. You're right, my Susanoo hasn't evolved yet, but there are some things that are different from yours.
Like this. On Susanoo's right hand, the extremely terrifying Sengoku exudes quite ultimate energy fluctuations, and the space is slightly distorted. Miyamoto's face was dignified. There's only one reason why I don't use Susanoo much.
This strength, I am not very able to sustain it. In other words, this power is beyond my imagination. My Susanoo seems to be quite special. First of all, let you feel the power of the 8-foot Changguyu. In Uchiha Madara's dignified expression, the three-pointed jade in Miyamoto's right hand kept spinning, and the terrifying and suffocating coercion came out. True 8-foot Changguyu. Boom. Boom. Boom.
The ground felt like a beating heart, then. Boom. The huge air wave overturned everything and directly spread across the entire battlefield. Under the blowing pressure of the wind, a mushroom cloud rushed into the sky, and the light of the explosion illuminated the entire battlefield as if it were daytime.
Everyone felt a terrifying wave of pressure, and those with weak strength even half kneeled on the ground at this moment. Looking at the mushroom cloud in the air above his body, he swallowed a mouthful of saliva. 397. On the head of the huge wooden golem, Black Zetsu's face was shocked. Seeing such a terrifying force erupt, Black Zetsu felt somewhat worried in his heart.
This kind of power, that Miyamoto Musashi may become the ultimate obstacle to the plan. Is that Madara guy really no problem? Up to now, I can only trust Madara. His eyes flickered coldly, and he originally planned to use a map cannon to consume the ninja coalition forces present, but now he chose to give up.
The collected information shows that Miyamoto is a very emotional man, and keeping these small shrimps may play an unexpected role at certain times. Prepare early. Black Zetsu made up his mind in his heart, and withdrew his gaze. The resurrection of the mother absolutely must not be missed. The battlefield of Miyamoto and Uchiha Madara, a huge hemispherical pit with a diameter of several thousand meters appeared here, and Miyamoto's figure had gone to nowhere, but at the bottom of the pit, Uchiha Madara's body once again condensed into substance. Looking at the scene caused by Miyamoto's attack, his face is quite serious. Fortunately, I'm in the impure world reincarnation state, otherwise I'd be dead if I just BHBC, greater than attacked.
After saying this, Uchiha Madara's perception spread out, but he couldn't perceive the existence of Miyamoto, so he couldn't help frowning. Where did you go? It seems that move consumed him quite a lot. Well, that's fine too. Swish. Leaping into the air, Uchiha Madara headed directly towards Ten Tails at an extremely fast speed.
While he hasn't replied, completely revive Ten Tails, and then become the Ten Tails calendar. After Uchiha Madara left, Miyamoto's figure silently appeared in the shadow of the pothole. Looking at the direction in which Uchiha Madara was leaving, Miyamoto exhaled and felt himself.
Is there only a quarter of chakra left? This trick is really terrifying. But it's enough for my war to get here. Madara is no match for me.
I already have a clear definition of my own strength in my heart. When not relying on Tenseigan, his own strength should be beyond the Super Shadow level, but it is still a little short of the 6 pads level. But if you use Tenseigan and open the Tenseigan Chakra mode, which is similar to the 6 pads mode, it will be at the 6 pads level of combat power. There is no need to shoot anymore. Using the excuse of excessive consumption, it was just right, waiting for Madara's resurrection and his becoming a 6 pads level existence. Thorn. Lei instantly activated, and Miyamoto's figure disappeared instantly, heading towards the perceived rear position of the coalition forces. The appearance of Uchiha Madara puts a lot of pressure on the coalition ministers. Having witnessed the inhuman battle between Miyamoto and Uchiha Madara just now, the person who can muster up the courage to fight Uchiha Madara is definitely a warrior among warriors. After the appearance of Uchiha Madara, the battle situation once again fell into anxiety, and the confrontation between the two sides continued.
With an ugly face, Uzumaki Naruto is still receiving treatment from Haruno Sakura. Just now Uchiha Madara was going to beat him half to death, and then directly strip Nine Tails, but he didn't show any mercy. Looking up at Uchiha Madara standing on top of 10 Tails, Uzumaki Naruto stood up directly and turned on 9 Tails chakra mode again. Where's Madara? Musashi. Face full of anger, looking at Uchiha Madara. His appearance here also proved that the seal failed.
So what will happen to Miyamoto? Uzumaki Naruto dare not think. Glancing at Uzumaki Naruto, Uchiha Madara's bland opening.
Have no idea. This is the truth. Uchiha Madara didn't have a serious perception at that time, plus Miyamoto's method of hiding his own breath, it can be said to be quite powerful. Uchiha Madara really didn't know if he didn't feel it carefully. Did you kill him? With tears in his eyes, Uzumaki Naruto gritted his teeth. You kill Musashi. A wave of anger filled Uzumaki Naruto's heart. Although he really didn't have much contact with Miyamoto, as the first existence among his peers who recognized him and was chased by him at the same time, for Uzumaki Naruto, there was something similar to facing that emotion in Jiraiya. No, Uchiha Madara, who was originally proud, disdains to answer the questions of ants, but this time is a special case. I didn't kill him. If he did die, that's why he killed himself. If you don't have the means to save your life, you can use tricks that you can't even control. Well,
I think he's fine. When the words came to this point, because of the appearance of Uchiha Madara, Hinata and Hong, who were a little worried about Miyamoto, could not help but let go of their hanging hearts. So, Rinnegan locked Uzumaki Naruto and Killer Bee, and Uchiha Madara glanced at Uchiha Obito next to him. I'll grab 8 tails and 9 tails, and everything else, just go with the plan. While speaking, Uchiha Madara's body moved, and he left immediately, heading straight for Uzumaki, Naruto and Killer Bee. Two bastards. You belong to me, now, it's time to return to your original body. Temari maintained the barrier, restraining Ten Tails' actions. If Ten Tails' huge body moved, it would cause huge casualties. The figure of Miyamoto came to Temari silently. It's finally started. P.S. This is Chapter 114, thank you for your support, thank you very much. Chapter 115 4 Hokages arrive 1/5 Chapter 115, has it finally started? Miyamoto's eyes are serious, looking at Uchiha Madara who has already handed in.
Naruto and Killer Bee are in danger. Miyamoto's voice caught Temari's attention, and when he saw Miyamoto, his face became happy. Musashi, are you okay? Shaking his head, Miyamoto sat down directly beside Temari, looking at the battlefield.
I'm fine. But the next battle, I can't get in the way. Chakra, it's used up. Hearing Miyamoto's words, Temari's face showed seriousness and then, smiled. It's okay, trust Gaara and them. You rest by my side, and I will protect you. Glancing at Miyamoto's extremely pale face, Temari's face was serious as Miyamoto didn't even have the strength to stand up. In this case, Miyamoto's chances of joining the battle, not only. Don't worry too much, reinforcements, with a slight smile, Miyamoto said. Reaching soon. As if to prove that Miyamoto's words were correct, a golden figure appeared on the battlefield. Immediately afterwards, 3 more auras descended, one of which divided the sky into the sky. The ancestors of Impure World Reincarnation, the Hokages, have finally arrived here, that is to say, Uchiha Sasuke is also here. The first task tonight is about to be completed. What's the situation? Are they?
Temari's reaction, similar to that of the others, was an exclamation. Grinning, Miyamoto looked at those figures and said. Don't worry, that is the first generation Hokage. First generation is also there, for the time being, don't worry too much. With first generation here, basically everyone is 50-50. While speaking, Miyamoto closed his eyes and began to slowly recover from his fatigue. Fighting against Uchiha Madara consumes not only chakra, but also spirit. True, Miyamoto can draw chakra, restoring himself. However, mental fatigue requires rest. And he didn't intend to interfere at all, so he just watched the show. Uchiha Madara, who was fighting Uzumaki Naruto and others, suddenly stopped and closed his eyes to feel it. This chakra, with a smile on his face, Uchiha Madara said. You can't go wrong. It's Hashirama. Just finished speaking. Behind Uchiha Madara, Uzumaki Naruto's attack came. After looking at it in a blink of an eye, Uchiha Madara disdains to speak. Never mind. I'll clean you up later. Now. Swish. The figure disappeared. Boom. Uzumaki Naruto's attack fell, but there was no figure of Uchiha Madara, so he couldn't help but feel a little puzzled. Where's that guy? Whoosh. Boom. A figure soared down from the sky and landed on a high place. I've been waiting for you for a long time. Uchiha Madara rushed out from the dust, and looked at Senju Hashirama who rushed below. Hashirama. Hearing this voice, Ben looked at Senju Hashirama in front of him with interest. Look at Uchiha Madara standing opposite, without speaking. Next, the famous scene. Lifting his finger, Senju Hashirama looked at Uchiha Madara with a serious face. I'll see you later. Hearing Senju Hashirama's words, Uchiha Madara's smiling face froze, and he stared at Senju Hashirama dumbfounded, unable to react for a moment. Turning his head to look at Ten Tails, who was huge and temporarily restrained by the coalition forces. First and foremost, organize 10 Tails. Hearing Senju Hashirama's words, Uchiha Madara showed helplessness. I still can't get along with him, but Musashi. Under such an attack, without chakra, you are lucky to survive. Rinnegan looked at Miyamoto and clearly saw that chakra inside Miyamoto fell to a horrible degree.
Noticing the gaze of Uchiha Madara, all of them, noticing Miyamoto sitting on the rock. Regardless of the others, Miyamoto watched Uchiha Madara just like that. The two looked at each other, and Bichibo Madara said, You, whose chakra is almost exhausted, are still here.
Do you think I won't kill you? Hearing Uchiha Madara's words, Miyamoto did not respond. Miyamoto's face remained calm. I'm not worried about that.
Because you never had the chance. Hearing this, a sneer appeared on Uchiha Madara's face. You think I can't do it? After saying this, the terrifying chakra condensed on Uchiha Madara's body, obviously wanting to do something. There was a sneer at the corner of his mouth. Miyamoto didn't speak. Tensigan flashed past. If you really have such an idea, then it's not that I can't accompany you. Did not speak. The air became silent. Uchiha Madara and Miyamoto looked at each other, and there was an extremely chilling atmosphere.
Ask for flowers. You, compared to Hashirama. It's more to my taste. After hearing this, Miyamoto looked at Uchiha Madara with a calm face. Sorry, I'm not interested in men. The air suddenly became anxious.
Everyone, including Uchiha Madara, was silent for a while.
Miyamoto spoke again. Just kidding, after all. I appreciate you, Uchiha Madara. Miyamoto has nothing to do. It's just that he can't make a move for the time being, but even so, the current situation is not too bad. God of Ninja, first Hokage, Senju Hashirama comes, another existence that can suppress Uchiha Madara comes, then there is no problem.
The battle started again, Senju Hashirama's Mugen Gate, after sealing Ten Tails moves. The same battle as in the original book, left directly, and during this period, Uchiha Sasuke also rushed here. When the 7th class is gathered together, the new generation of Sannin is quite good.
Swish. The figures of Hong and Hinata appeared behind Miyamoto. Although they were dirty, they were not injured. It was just that the continuous fighting was quite exhausting for Hong and Hinata.
Are you all right? Miyamoto glanced at Hinata and Hong and said. Take a good rest, the real war will happen later. The real battle should be between 6 Paths Uchiha Obito and 6 Paths Uchiha Madara. For the Ninja Coalition forces, the subsequent wars are actually of no help.
In addition to the tug of war with Uchiha Obito, the role played is actually not very big. Yes, after looking at each other, Hinata and Hong stood on both sides of Miyamoto, one left and one right. Tamari is also in. The consumption of chakra to maintain the enchantment that restrained Ten Tails just now is not ordinary. Glancing at Hinata and Hong standing beside Miyamoto, after hesitating for a while, he took out 2 dry food from his ninja bag. Eat something and recover. Looking at the dry food in front of them, Hong and Hinata were taken aback for a moment, then took it. Looking up at Tamari, Hinata showed a gentle smile on his face. Thank you, Sister Tamari. P.S. This is Chapter 115, thank you for your support. Chapter 116 Resurrection 2/5. Chapter 116. Oh, brat, you are very lucky. A slightly funny voice sounded, and the 3 of Hinata turned their heads to look at the person who appeared beside them.
Miyamoto's eyes are also looking at the people around him. The funny Senju Hashirama, Miyamoto took a look and looked away. Are you a clone? Looking at the 3 girls beside Miyamoto, Senju Hashirama sighed. I didn't expect my wood style to be in your hands.
And, Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, you actually have the power of me and Madara on your body. No answer, Changbin didn't say much. Now, there is no need to hide anything, otherwise Miyamoto wouldn't have used Susanoo just now. The war continues. With the strength of the impure world reincarnation Hokages, it is finally equal, and the 907 battlefield is roughly divided into 2. The battlefield where Uchiha Obito is located is dealt with by 4th Hokage, Kakashi and others. The battlefield of Uchiha Madara was naturally handed over to the old opponent Senju Hashirama. Miyamoto has been sitting in place, even though the huge chakra in his body has gradually begun to recover, Miyamoto still has no plans to participate in the battle. Aren't you going to fight? Senju Hashirama's avatar was always by Miyamoto's side. After taking a look at what looked like a tragic battlefield, he asked. Your body. Miyamoto shook his head directly, and glanced at Uchiha Obito.
It's not that time yet. The main character won't be able to appear until the end. I don't understand what Miyamoto is saying, but Senju Hashirama understands. He won't make a move. As time goes by, time has entered the first stage. At this time, both sides have entered the time of absolute exhaustion, and Miyamoto has been watching closely. Uchiha Obito successfully absorbed the incompletely revived 10 Tails into his body, and at this moment, he was in the sky, in the shape similar to the legendary Sage of 6 Paths, located in the air. The situation where there are more words than fights is the situation on the battlefield of Uchiha Obito. As for Uchiha Madara of Impure World Reincarnation on the other side, he is caught in a bitter battle. And was seized by the first generation and suppressed in the way of Mugenman.
Just taking a look, Miyamoto withdrew his gaze, and the 3 red people around him also threw themselves into the battlefield. Miyamoto didn't stop because he watched, but something happened. Talking and resorting to force. The battle situation has changed, the tail beasts were pulled out from Uchiha Obito's body, and the body of 10 Tails became Geto statue again. 6 Paths Obito, defeated. After seeing this, Tenseigan flickered slightly in Miyamoto's eyes, and then turned to look at the other side, Uchiha Madara who was suppressed by Miyamoto.
Not making Miyamoto wait long, Uchiha Madara looked at Uchiha Obito who was extremely weak after being drawn out of the tail beast with a sneer on his face. With the help of Black Zetsu, both sides formed seals. I won. Reincarnation technique. A force emanated, and in Miyamoto's eyes, the vitality of Uchiha Obito, who was bent over by Black Zetsu, dropped crazily. At the same time, Chakra and others also passed away quickly and permanently. At the same time, Uchiha Madara's momentum began to rise crazily, and a glistening vitality began to fill Uchiha Madara's body. With solemn eyes, Miyamoto looked at Uchiha Madara's side, but still didn't make a move.
Uchiha Madara, fully resurrected. Although the resurrection only got a Rinnegan that belonged to him, Uchiha Madara's strength also showed overwhelming power, after solving Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobirama of Impure World Reincarnation. Uchiha Madara stabbed Uchiha Sasuke to death. After seeing this scene, Miyamoto, who was still watching, stood up. The plan is about to be completed. It's time, let's do it. After death, it will activate Indra Chakra, see Sage of 6 Paths, and then open Guyu Rinnegan. One of Miyamoto's targets is Guyu Rinnegan. Is it finally time to make a move?
Miyamoto's words made Senju Hashirama smile and said,
I don't have to protect you here, then. Swish. In an instant, the figure of Senju Hashirama left directly. It was still early, and after looking in other directions, Miyamoto walked directly towards Uchiha Sasuke's body. Miyamoto moved, and Chakra's aura emanated, attracting everyone's attention. Uchiha Madara's face changed slightly, and he looked in the direction of Miyamoto. The feeling that Chakra fed back to him was still quite dangerous. Are you finally going to make a move? But judging by his appearance, it should be. Turning his head, Uchiha Madara looked at the tailed beast that was pulled out, with a grin on his face. All in all, beasts. While speaking, Uchiha Madara directly formed mudra with both hands. Summoning technique Gedo statue. Boom. Only the body of 10 tails is left, and the hands are directly sealed. Bringing you all together again. Whoosh whoosh. Because of Miyamoto, Uchiha Madara was under a lot more pressure. He didn't talk nonsense, and directly started, one by one, directly imprisoned the necks of several tailed beasts. Under the control of the huge pupil power, there is no room for them to resist.
Directly one after another, they were sealed into Gedo statue's body. Even 8 tails with Jinchuriki is no exception. Only in 9 tails, the son of prophecy, there was a little accident. As Jinchuriki, Uzumaki Naruto was sent out by 9 tails, and his body was caught by Gaara. After devouring half of 9 tails' power, a terrifying chakra power erupted. Boom! The power of 10 tails erupted directly, shaking the situation. After that, nothing happened, and was directly sealed into his body by Uchiha Madara. Miyamoto was heading towards Uchiha Sasuke, and after feeling the terrifying power, a smile appeared on his face. The second goal will also appear, compared to the second goal of 3.6. Get the Rinnegan first. Hope you don't disappoint me. After speaking, Miyamoto quickly came to Uchiha Sasuke's side and saw Yakushi Kabuto saving Uchiha Sasuke. Please don't do it. Yakushi Kabuto glanced at Miyamoto, his eyes were clear, and he said calmly.
I mean no harm. Coming to Uchiha Sasuke's side, Miyamoto reached out and pressed Uchiha Sasuke's head. I glanced at the refreshed copy options, and when Guyu Rinnegan didn't appear, I couldn't help but frown. Have you not accepted the gift yet? While speaking, Miyamoto withdrew his hand and stood quietly, waiting for Uchiha Sasuke to wake up.
P.S. This is Chapter 116, thank you for your support, thank you very much. Chapter 117 First goal accomplished 3/5 Chapter 117. Well, with a soft moan, Uchiha Sasuke lying on the ground, there was movement. Miyamoto looked up at Uchiha Sasuke who opened his eyes. Oh, are you awake? With a hint of color on his face, the Tensigan blue light in Miyamoto's eyes flickered, and he said. Have you got it yet? The old man's gift. Uchiha Sasuke sat up, looked at Miyamoto, his eyes flickered, and then Lubuyu Rinnegan emerged from his left eye. Miyamoto can feel that among these eyes, the huge pupil power is even higher than that of Madara's Rinnegan, but unfortunately, there is only one. For Uchiha Sasuke, one eye. That's enough. Duh. After hearing Miyamoto's words, Sasuke nodded and Taguchi said. What do you want to say? Are you going to lecture me again? So far, Miyamoto's approach to Uchiha Sasuke basically has only 2 words, crushing and crushing. 17 only once, probably the time when Uchiha Itachi's suicide note was forged. I left some complaints about Uchiha Sasuke written by Masashi Kishimoto, just this one time, if I didn't say it, Miyamoto almost forgot. After all, there were a lot of things during this period of time. Raising his hand, Miyamoto patted Uchiha Sasuke's shoulder, and after copying Lugoyu Rinnegan's option, Miyamoto's eyes suddenly changed. Not only that, the changes in the eyes are fed back to Miyamoto's body. Chakra, who had only recovered half of it, directly reached the peak state. When he closed his eyes, Miyamoto felt the changes in his eyes, which was quite comfortable. Very powerful. Mangekyo's pupil technique is perfectly preserved, and Rinnegan's pupil technique also exists. Feel different. Before, I noticed something. Miyamoto spoke suddenly, with a sudden realization. I didn't expect it, I really thought about it this way. I'm really reckless. Opening his eyes, Kaoru and the others who had just come over looked into Miyamoto's eyes. Tensagan's pattern, ice blue light, 2 eyes, each with the existence of Sangoyu. Facing this pair of eyes, Uchiha Sasuke, who has already activated the Ryugo Jade Rinnegan, felt a burst of coercion. The eyes in this state only existed for 5 or 6 seconds, and under Miyamoto's control, they returned to the shape of Tensigan. Your eyes just now. Uchiha Sasuke's face showed serious color, looking at Miyamoto. Is it special too? Hearing this, Miyamoto nodded in a good mood. Tensagan is no worse than Rinnegan. After finishing speaking, Miyamoto glanced in another direction, his body was suspended in the air, and a burst of chakra erupted like a flame. Tensagan Chakra Mode. After completing Tensagan Chakra Mode, Miyamoto headed straight for Uchiha Madara's battlefield with a serious look on his face. 10 tails, the only tail beast Miyamoto covets, is also time to get his hands on.
Having collected a pair of Rinnegan's Uchiha Madara, the strength has soared to a terrifying level.
At present, no one is standing in front of him. Glancing at the full moon in the sky, with serious eyes, Uchiha Madara turned to look in the direction of Miyamoto's breath.
This chakra, sure enough, I didn't use it rashly. The birth of the God Tree world is the right choice. Swish. Miyamoto's figure turned into a streamer and appeared in front of Uchiha Madara in an instant. Miyamoto under Tenseigan chakra mode is like a god, and compared with Uchiha Madara holding the six-path scepter, there is no difference in momentum. Is this your hidden strength? Uchiha Madara looked at Miyamoto and said. I can feel that your current strength is not much different from mine. Nodding undeniably, Miyamoto's face was flat. This is Tenseigan chakra mode. Madara, the time for the final battle has come. With a slight shake of the hand, the light ball suspended behind Miyamoto, like a truth-seeking ball, fell into his hand, forming a lightsaber, and looked at Uchiha Madara with a serious face.
At 2h a carat at plus, scatter, Madara, let's fight. While speaking, Miyamoto's figure suddenly came to Uchiha Madara and raised his hand. Pseudo-golden wheels explode. Clang. Terrifying power. The lightsaber looked at the six-path scepter, but it was not able to cut off the scepter, but the terrifying power burst out.
Boom. Uchiha Madara's body, like a laser cannon, blasted into the depths of the ground. The lightsaber in Miyamoto's hand stretched straight out, and after raising it high, he cut it down with a sword. Golden wheels explode. Jung. As soon as the golden light passes, the air stagnates for a moment, and the place where the golden light cuts. Boom. The ground was directly divided into two, and a huge gully stretched into the distance. All the people swallowed subconsciously. Fortunately, people with such a world-destroying level of combat power are from our side.
Everyone nodded in approval. Looking at Miyamoto in the sky, everyone's expressions became quite complicated. This war is no longer something they can intervene in. The best support that everyone can do now is protect yourself. On the cliff, in a semicircular platform, Uchiha Madara said solemnly. The move just now should be his ultimate move 420. Severing the move of 2 meteorites, it is rare to see him use it a second time, there should be some restrictions.
Thinking of this, Uchiha Madara directly formed a mudra with both hands, the chakra on his body burst out, and his face was solemn. The birth of God Tree Realm. Boom. From the cliff, countless huge tree roots suddenly spread out, and an unprecedented huge tree grew crazily from it. The roots spread across the entire battlefield.
Right in front of Miyamoto, on the crown of the tree, a sacred tree with an extremely huge bud grew out.
Glancing at the tree, Miyamoto didn't do anything to stop it. His eyes turned, and he looked at Uchiha Madara, who flew back into the air from the pothole and was unscathed.
The two looked at each other, and they directly attacked each other. Clang. The small light group behind Miyamoto is of the same nature as Uchiha Madara's truth-seeking ball. In this case, no one can take advantage of the weapon. Clang. After another sword fight with Uchiha Madara, a flash of lightning flashed on Miyamoto's leg, and he kicked out the vacuum. Miyamoto Flow Rising Dragon Strike. Boom. Miyamoto's physical fitness is already quite terrifying, and his attack speed is beyond imagination. It hit Uchiha Madara's abdomen directly, and at the same time as it was knocked into the air, Miyamoto's eyes froze. Golden wheels explode. P.S. This is Chapter 117, thank you for your support. Chapter 118 Battle against Uchiha Madara 4/5 Chapter 118. Killing intent flashed in Miyamoto's eyes, and the golden rapier in his hand spread into the distance. Let me see _6 pads level strength, can you not die? Jung. The terrifying golden sword seems to cut through the sky. Peefed. The golden sword slashed Uchiha Madara's body in half, and in Uchiha Madara's frowning eyes, he glanced at Miyamoto. The truth-seeking ball behind him directly implicated the two body, back together. An alternative immortal body. Miyamoto's face showed a clear color, and Tenseigan's huge pupil power could clearly feel some subtle changes. Miyamoto had felt it before. With the things he copied, he learned a lot. Apart from the accidents of skills, he could clearly feel that his blood became stronger. Copy where it should really be used. It should be the improvement of his own blood. He just copied the mutation of Rinnegan in Miyamoto's eyes, which made him convinced. Ninjutsu, including the elimination of blood successors like Dust Dungeon, or the method of trapping blood successors, on the level of replication, is attributed to the replication of skills. The duplication of Sage Body, Tenseigan, and Rinnegan is the exact bloodline duplication. As for the manifestations of Tenseigan and Rinnegan, it is a kind of feedback after the optimization and upgrade of bloodline inheritance in Miyamoto's body. In other words, as long as his blood is still there, it may develop to the point where his eyes return to their original color and he can still use the pupil technique. Violence. The reason for saying this is here, Jung. Clenching his right hand again, a golden long sword also appeared in Miyamoto's left hand. After optimization of Tenseigan, Miyamoto can control Tenseigan's ability to achieve whatever he wants. Swish. In a blink of an eye, Miyamoto came in front of Uchiha Madara aggressively. The golden sword in his hands was aimed straight at various places of Uchiha Madara. The fighting speed of the two was as fast as ultimate. In general, Rinnegan is not very suitable for use in combat, and is more supportive. In normal times, I don't think so. However, in front of Miyamoto's aggressive Tenseigan, even though Uchiha Madara is a strong player who has been famous since the Sengoku era, he is still a little bit short. Clang. 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 Two meteor-like figures descended from the sky, and before falling to the ground, the two were still fighting. Boom. Boom. Prickly Miyamoto's figure rushed out from the dust, his feet dragged two traces on the ground, he raised his eyes to look at the opposite side, his face changed slightly, his back was facing the ninja coalition forces who had never been able to intervene since just now, and Uzumaki Naruto and Uchiha Sasuke et al. Watch out! The attack is coming. Just after Miyamoto finished speaking, a sense of crisis appeared in the hearts of everyone. Whoosh whoosh. In the sky, countless sharp trees fell from the sky like sharp swords, facing indiscriminate attacks from all the Ninja Alliance forces. With serious eyes, the Guanyu floating behind Miyamoto all came in front of him. Silver Wheel Reincarnation Explosion. Bang. A huge tornado, with Miyamoto as the source, swept through all the sharp trees that attacked him. While clearing one side of the sharp trees, this terrifying tornado, under the control of Miyamoto, directly blasted at Uchiha from the other end Madara. Shenluo Tianzheng. Uchiha Madara raised his hands, and with a huge repulsion force, he directly received Miyamoto's Silver Wheel Reincarnation Explosion. Neither side is making a move. Although Miyamoto's offensive is very powerful, Uchiha Madara is a 6 pads level existence after all, and it is very difficult to get a decisive blow. The most important one-wheel tomb-side prison. Under Tenseigan's insight, the four invisible figures around Uchiha Madara are quite clear to him. The battle between Miyamoto and Uchiha Madara relied on the speed of ultimate, which did not give the round tomb-side prison a chance to attack itself. Even so, during the confrontation just now, Miyamoto had been attacked several times. Swish swish. Uchiha Sasuke and Uzumaki Naruto came directly to Miyamoto's side, looking directly at Uchiha Madara opposite. Musashi, let's go together. Uzumaki Naruto has a serious face on his face, and instantly enters 6 pads mode, while Sasuke, Lubuyu Rinnegan in the left eye, and Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan in the right eye. Glancing at the two, Miyamoto said calmly, "You guys are going to shoot, but be careful. Under the ultra-high-speed battle, I may not be able to control my own strength. Believe it yourself." A golden long sword appeared in both hands again. Miyamoto looked at Uchiha Madara with a serious face at the same time. "I'm on." Boom. Boom. Where Miyamoto was standing, in an instant, the ground was covered with spider web-like cracks, and Miyamoto rushed out at an unbelievable speed. Uchiha Madara has been paying attention to Miyamoto with a serious face, and at the same time slightly panting. Miyamoto's speed is too fast, it's not space ninjutsu, and it's not body flicker technique, it's pure physical speed. At that speed, if Uchiha Madara didn't have the spirit to deal with it, it would be absolutely miserable. Even the round tomb-side prison next to him can't keep up with Miyamoto's attack speed. One can imagine what kind of speed this is. Wait a little longer. That technique should be ready soon. Uchiha Madara glanced at the moon, which was gradually turning blood red in the sky, and said something secretly in his heart. Turning his gaze, just looking at Miyamoto, Uchiha Madara's face changed, and his body backed away. Oops. Thorn. The moment Uchiha Madara retreated, Miyamoto's figure directly broke through the blockade of his round tomb prison, and the golden double sword slashed directly towards Uchiha Madara. The two looked at each other, and both saw the undisguised killing intent in each other's eyes. If before, Uchiha Madara still had some playful mentality, now Uchiha Madara has a real killing intent towards Miyamoto. There is no room for failure in the plan, and the determination to kill Miyamoto at any cost. So is Miyamoto. Under such circumstances, when both sides are fighting with all their strength, if Wang Qianzhou intends to keep his hand, it is tantamount to courting death. Miyamoto stopped paddling, so the battle between the two was quite anxious. As soon as the eyes crossed, boom, Miyamoto pressed Uchiha Madara's 6-pads scepter with two swords, ignoring the Sidalun tomb prison clone who followed behind him, and their bodies directly shattered a small mountain. A ray of golden light emerged from the rubble of the mountain, and then two figures appeared in the air again. Miyamoto crossed his hands in front of him, and Uchiha Madara kicked directly at Miyamoto's body. At the same time, the four clones of the round tomb-side prison also attacked. Bang bang bang. In 5 directions, the repulsion defense cover that Miyamoto propped up, 5 footprints appeared in 5 directions, pressing the repulsion defense cover fiercely towards Miyamoto. At this moment, Miyamoto recalled the theorem 1 of physics in his previous life. Force is mutual gut. P.S. To be continued, this is Chapter 119, thank you for your support. Chapter 119 Infinite Tsukuyomi, 5/5 Chapter 119, Drink. Determined to kill the opponent, in this case, Miyamoto, like Uchiha Madara. Dare not bet. The reason is simple, 6-pads level battles and attacks with every move are earth-shattering. With a loud shout, Miyamoto, Tenseigan's pupil power, broke out without reservation. Super Shenluo Tianzheng. Miyamoto's face showed a rather dignified color. Shenluo Tianzheng, as long as he has enough repulsive force, there are many people who can do it. In the sky, a terrifying repulsive force erupted, and the repulsive force defense circle visible to the naked eye grew from small to large, shaking the trunk of the sacred tree. While the huge sacred tree was shaking, the strange red color dyed by the moon in the sky became even bigger and more terrifying. At the same time, the flower buds at the top of the sacred tree were already blooming unknowingly. A mysterious feeling appeared in everyone's heart. This feeling is not a good feeling, as if being targeted by a hunter. Everyone felt it. The feeling of being treated as a prey, except for Uchiha Madara and Miyamoto who were fighting, and Uzumaki Naruto and Uchiha Sasuke who got the power of the Road 893 and Luguyu Rinnegan. Other living people can feel this feeling. Boom. After blocking Uchiha Madara with one move, he quickly retreated and looked up at the top of the sacred tree. Miyamoto smiled coldly, showing serious eyes. Madara. Have you ever experienced despair? Uchiha Madara, who is always paying attention to Miyamoto, the strongest enemy, sees Miyamoto's eyes, and hears Miyamoto's words. There is a rare ugly look on his face, and even a little nervousness. Have you finally noticed it? Musashi, do you want to stop me? You are very similar to me, you should be able to understand it? Why don't you complete New World with me? With your strength, there is no problem at all. Shaking his head, Miyamoto didn't answer Uchiha Madara's words. The golden long sword in his hand stammered. No, I didn't ask you about that false piece. What I'm asking is, have you ever experienced despair? No despair. You who have never experienced this, but want to save the entire ninja world, more or less. Ridiculous. The golden color was condensed, and Miyamoto's face showed a serious color. For the first time, he held the handle of the knife with both hands. Miyamoto looked at Uchiha Madara, and then moved away a little. Raising his hand, Jian Cheng, looking straight ahead, Miyamoto said. If you haven't experienced despair, experience it once. Having experienced despair, then, again, after saying this, Miyamoto directly held the golden sword in his hands with both hands. Golden wheels explode. Jung. The terrifying sword light flashed by, and the huge sacred tree was cut off directly from the middle by this terrifying knife. Ka, the huge trunk of the sacred tree fell from the air, submerging Uchiha Madara directly below. Boom. Earth trembles, huge smoke and dust puffed up, and Miyamoto's figure had already fallen, and came to the bottom, beside Hong, Hinata, and Temari. The Tensigan chakra mode on their bodies dissipated, revealing Miyamoto wearing tights. In the battle with Impure World Reincarnation Uchiha Madara just now, the chakra armor was destroyed by that horrible explosion. Miyamoto-kun, how is the current situation? Hinata asked with some doubts. Hong and Temari also looked over. The other people around all looked over to see how Miyamoto answered. Needless to say, everyone present could understand that Miyamoto was the highest combat power on their side. They don't know what happened to Uchiha Madara, but everyone understands that the scene of such a fairy fight is completely beyond the ability of the coalition forces to intervene. The only ones who can intervene are Uzumaki Naruto and Uchiha Sasuke, but unfortunately, BHBC is. The fighting consciousness of these two people can't keep up with Uchiha Madara and Miyamoto at all, so they can only stare blankly. With the speed of the battle just now, those who can intervene must be at the same level as Miyamoto and Uchiha Madara. I'm not very clear about the situation. But the sacred tree has been cut down, so there should be no problem. Knowing that everyone is waiting for his answer, Miyamoto gave such a reasonable explanation. Everyone who heard it at the scene believed Miyamoto's words. If you don't believe it, there is no other way. Other than that, is there any other way? Unfortunately, what Miyamoto said was indeed a lie. Uchiha Madara didn't have anything. Not only that, Uchiha Madara was going towards the bloody moon in the sky with the help of smoke. Miyamoto saw a. As Uchiha Madara approached gradually, a sense of terror was slowly recovering. Ōtsutsuki Kaguya, finally waiting for you. Miyamoto's eyes flickered, and he said in his heart. When the final battle comes, I will be your deputy for everything about you. Open your eyes, a new pair of eyes with all pupil skills of Miyamoto, named Rinne Sharingan. The terrifying pupil power surging to the extreme is the source of Miyamoto's self-confidence. In addition is a. The copied 10 tails on Uchiha Madara's body just now, under Miyamoto's huge pupil power, directly obliterated the will, and successfully became the 10 tails of Miyamoto's perpetual motion machine. Approaching the moon, Uchiha Madara looked ashamed, but his eyes were full of excitement. Looking at the distant moon, Uchiha Madara glanced below. If Musashi hadn't cut down the false god tree, it might not be possible to get rid of him so smoothly. It may be necessary to give up the will that was created with great difficulty, but it is not necessary now. Looking up at the moon in the sky, Uchiha Madara directly broke the forehead protector. According to the contents of that steel, when J, the owner of the power of reincarnation, approaches the moon's eye, which is used to realize the dream of infinity, will open. While talking, Uchiha Madara's eyebrows, the blood-red Jugoyu reincarnation Sharingan, opened directly. After feeling the eyes on his forehead, a smile appeared on Uchiha Madara's face, and a seal was formed.
Illuminate the world. Infinite Tsukuyomi. Bang. The ground was shaking, and even ninjas couldn't stand firmly. After feeling such a situation, Miyamoto raised his head and looked towards the sky, his gaze was serious.
Looks like I failed. Everyone was taken aback. Looking at Miyamoto, someone exclaimed. What does it mean? Miyamoto glanced at the crowd, and pointed to the moon in the sky. Madara's spell, done. Infinite Tsukuyomi, it's time to start. P.S. This is chapter 119, thank you for your support. Chapter 120 Everything is over 1/5 Chapter 120, Light up the world.
Uchiha Madara, who is full of excitement and one-handed mudra, looks crazy. Infinite Tsukuyomi. Buzz. A huge and terrifying pupil power erupted. Before the blood moon in the sky, the Jugoyu reincarnation Sharingan fell into everyone's hearts. On Uchiha Madara's face, there was a wild laugh, after the moon radiated infinite light. The infinite dream has begun. Before the light of infinite Tsukuyomi burst out in the sky, Miyamoto's face was serious. If that light shines, it will be over. Hinata, you three, come to me. After the three came over, Miyamoto looked up at the sky with a smile in his eyes. Susanoo. The golden Susanoo formed and directly wrapped the bodies of the four people, forming an eggshell-like protective cover. In the sky, the terrifying light of infinite Tsukuyomi resounded throughout the ninja world in an instant, even if they were hiding at home. The light of infinite Tsukuyomi seems to be able to penetrate everything. As long as you are in this ninja world, you cannot escape the shadow of infinite Tsukuyomi. There are two exceptions. Susanoo from Uchiha Sasuke's Lugoyu Rinnegan, and Miyamoto's Rinne Sharingan from Susanoo.
Infinite Tsukuyomi, as long as you avoid the first light, everything will be fine. After feeling that it was all right outside, Miyamoto's face showed seriousness, and he untied Susanoo. On the surrounding trees, there are things like cicada chrysalis hanging on the trees. What are these things? Hinata looked at Miyamoto with doubts on his face. Miyamoto's face was serious, and he glanced at the cicada chrysalis. Ninja Alliance. Under the premise of winning infinite Tsukuyomi, wrap all creatures with the birth of the tree world, and then extract their vitality and chakra.
This is what Madara said. The original face fused into one, infinite Tsukuyomi, makes white Zetsu. Of course, this period will take a long time. Hearing Miyamoto's words, the three of Hinata looked at each other. As this, still real peace? Shaking his head, Miyamoto didn't know either, and said pointedly. Actually, it's considered an alternative false peace. After all, everyone's dream is different.
And in their dreams, they can all get happiness. Swish. As soon as Miyamoto's voice fell, several figures fell beside the four of Miyamoto. 7th class. Musashi, what's the situation? Kakashi came to Miyamoto's side, with a serious face, he asked. Do you know? Looking at Miyamoto, Kakashi felt in his heart that Miyamoto should know what was going on. Shaking his head, Miyamoto raised his eyes to the sky. In this case, if you ask me, you might as well ask him. Madara. Swish. Falling from the sky, Uchiha Madara's forehead, a 9-go jade reincarnation Sharingan, is particularly eye-catching. Under Rinne Sharingan, Miyamoto can vaguely feel that Uchiha Madara has faint shadows of other people. You're fine, as I expected. After landing, Uchiha Madara looked at Miyamoto and said with each mouthful. But it's beyond my surprise that so many people escaped infinite Tsukuyomi. After glancing at Rinnegan in Uchiha Sasuke's eyes, Uchiha Madara nodded knowingly. Then Uchiha Madara showed a smile on his face, looked at Miyamoto, and gradually turned into a wild laugh. Hee hee hee. Ha 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 ha. At last, I won. Musashi, do you have anything to say now? Looking at Miyamoto, as the second person who crushed him, Uchiha Madara will kill Miyamoto. But this does not prevent Uchiha Madara from having a feeling of bosom friend to Miyamoto. Just like the weird friendship with Senju Hashirama back then. I regard you as a brother, but this does not prevent me from killing you. It is such a strange bond and relationship. Most people in this world have such a deformed bond. Facing Uchiha Madara's victorious posture, Miyamoto suddenly felt that Uchiha Madara was so pitiful. For peace, I have struggled and sacrificed my life all my life. As far as the motivation of his actions and the purpose he wants to achieve, Uchiha Madara is not wrong. It is undoubtedly inevitable that this man can go to the last step. But the mistake is, Uchiha Madara believed too much in that steel, too much in her own power, and was played by Black Zetsu from beginning to end. Success is due to Uchiha Madara's strength, and defeat is also due to Uchiha Madara's strength. Ask for flowers, success is also a situation, and failure is also a situation. When he finally died, he never recognized the efforts he had made, and even himself denied the path he had taken. For Uchiha Madara, Miyamoto's evaluation in his heart is a simple and lonely hero. For your purposes and motives, Madara. Looking at Uchiha Madara, Miyamoto spoke calmly, you're not wrong. With that said, Uchiha Madara's eyes lit up, looking at Miyamoto with a smile on his face. Sure enough. You understand me better than Hashirama. Everyone needs to be recognized, and Uchiha Madara also needs it, but the only person who is qualified to recognize him in the entire ninja world except for his best friend Senju Hashirama, is Miyamoto alone. Zero shaking his head, Miyamoto continued. I do understand you. I can understand your purpose, your mood to save the ninja world, including the way you choose. But sorry, as a result, you failed. Miyamoto spoke, with a serious color on his face. Miyamoto opened his mouth and said, dreams are dreams, reality is reality. When one is alive, one should pursue the real thing. Infinite Tsukuyomi is doomed to failure. Hearing Miyamoto's words, Uchiha Madara's face was solemn, looked at Miyamoto, then looked at Uchiha Sasuke. Both of them have already activated Rinnegan, and Miyamoto's combat power is even higher than him just now. So in order to prevent Infinite Tsukuyomi from being unlocked, Miyamoto and Uchiha Sasuke must be killed here. After devouring the sacred tree, Uchiha Madara can feel that his current strength is above Miyamoto. It may be difficult to kill, but it should be very simple if it is sealed. Because of this, Uchiha Madara didn't even speak, and just looked at Miyamoto with a serious face. The atmosphere between the two sides became quite tense in an instant, and an invisible wind blade formed between Uchiha Madara and Miyamoto was generated between Uchiha Madara and Miyamoto. The terrifying force even left a hole on the rock. Countless traces.
Looking at Miyamoto, Uchiha Madara said, Musashi, accept reality. It's all over. P.S. This is Chapter 120, thank you for your support, I am very grateful. Chapter 121 Kaguya G2/5. Chapter 121. Puff. The sound of piercing the flesh sounded, Miyamoto's eyes flickered slightly, and he just watched quietly, and the others also did not make a move. The atmosphere suddenly quieted down. Uchiha Madara's face was full of disbelief, bewilderment, and horror.
The body couldn't move, the eyeballs wanted to look back, and Black Zetsu's gloomy voice sounded. Wrong, Madara. You're not the winner, and it's not over yet. Uchiha Madara looked at Miyamoto's face with a regretful expression, a little unbelievable, withdrew his gaze, and spoke with difficulty. Can't move. Such a change, except for Miyamoto's flat face, everyone else is unbelievable. But no one did anything, watching the changes in the situation quietly. Kakashi and the others showed a rather dignified look of 120. Is such a change good or bad? There is always a kind of foreboding. In Miyamoto's eyes, Rinne's Sharingan shone with a ray of light. In Uchiha Madara's body, there is a powerful chakra, which is gradually awakening, and at the same time, it is invisible to everyone. Behind Uchiha Madara, the phantom of Ōtsutsuki Kaguya has enveloped his whole body. From the moment Uchiha Madara came down, Miyamoto observed that his eyes were not on Uchiha Madara, but on Ōtsutsuki Kaguya behind him. What makes you say you're different from Obito? Black Zetsu's words continued. He who controlled Uchiha Madara was a little vigilant, but seeing that Miyamoto didn't attack, he continued unceremoniously. Think of yourself as someone who can take advantage of everything. I feel like I'm the only one who is different. As Miyamoto Musashi said, don't you think it's ridiculous? Madara, you are actually in the illusory dream. That is the dream I described for you. Uchiha Madara, who couldn't move at all, was trembling all over, with pain on his face, and asked. Black Zetsu. What are you talking about? I created you, you are my will.
Hearing this, Miyamoto shook his head, looked at Uchiha Madara, and said with a little disappointment. Madara, don't you understand? This guy, it's not your will. Looking up at the sky, Yaiban said. This infinite Tsukuyomi will indeed make everyone have a happy dream, but this technique. It's also a technique to unlock a certain seal. You were deceived. This guy used it in order to revive the sealed existence. That's why I said, Madara, you lost. From the time you opened infinite Tsukuyomi, the consciousness of existence has covered you. When Miyamoto finished speaking these words, Uchiha Madara's body suddenly twitched. Bang! A wave of terrifying chakra from the ground rushed out and poured into Uchiha Madara's body. Black Zetsu laughed wildly. Ha ha ha, sure enough, Miyamoto Musashi, you guessed it, all of this exists. But sorry, you shouldn't believe Madara, it's too late to say anything now, I am the final winner, Kaguya is the final winner. Bang bang bang, the inflated Uchiha Madara let out a scream, and her body was directly covered by the black matter emanating from Black Zetsu. After swelling to the limit, she suddenly transformed into a female.
There are two horns on the first head, a 9-go jade reincarnation Sharingan in the middle, and a pair of white eyes. Suspended in the air, with flat eyes, long hair that Miyamoto has never seen before, and a chakra that is much more terrifying than him. Ōtsutsuki Kaguya, the ancestor of Ninja World, the ancestor of Chakra, the final enemy of the Fourth Ninja World War. Stepping out step by step, a smile appeared on Miyamoto's face, looking at Ōtsutsuki Kaguya in the sky.
Have you finally come out? Ōtsutsuki Kaguya, let me wait. Leaf, Chakra, which is more terrifying than 10 tails, broke out and entered Chakra mode. Miyamoto, who turned the chakra of 10 tails into his own perpetual motion machine, gained the complete power of 6 paths, and his strength steadily surpassed Uchiha Sasuke and Uzumaki, the combination of Naruto's strength. Can't reach the level of Ōtsutsuki Kaguya, but can fight. Do you know Uchiha? Ōtsutsuki Kaguya spoke, His voice had the power of a superior, not like a girl's voice. I couldn't help smiling, and looked up and down Ōtsutsuki Kaguya.
It was my fault for expecting you. But yes, you're not bad looking, but the problem is, you are just an old woman who has lived for more than 1,000 years. After saying this, Miyamoto's Rinne's Sharingan, pupil power exudes. Spread, let's fight somewhere else, hum. The pupil force exploded, and before Ōtsutsuki Kaguya could react, he wrapped it in. Wangshen Hirasaka, the world you are familiar with, but this world is controlled by me. After Miyamoto finished speaking, the figure of Ōtsutsuki Kaguya disappeared immediately. Turning to look at Uzumaki Naruto and Uchiha Sasuke, Miyamoto waved. You two go in with me and seal her, you need what the Sage of Six Paths taught you. Six Paths planetary devastation. After saying this, Miyamoto directly threw Uzumaki Naruto and Uchiha Sasuke into it. I glanced at Hinata and others who were worried about me and smiled slightly. Wait for the good news. Yellow Springs Hirasaka. Looking at the wind and sand all over the sky, Ōtsutsuki Kaguya's face remained unchanged, looking at the space in front of him. That person. It's so strong that it can even control my space. But, probably he never thought that the creator of this world is me. While speaking, a black hole appeared in front of Ōtsutsuki Kaguya, and he was about to enter it, but in the next moment, two figures descended from the sky, falling towards 3.8 towards her.
Sasuke just came in. The moment he saw Kaguya-ji, Uzumaki Naruto's face showed seriousness, and he looked at Uchiha Sasuke who was also in the same place. Now, Uchiha Sasuke didn't say a word, the two rushed to Ōtsutsuki Kaguya in an instant, and raised their hands. Avenue. Bang. Two terrifying chakra forces bombarded out, directly hit Uchiha Sasuke and Uzumaki Naruto, and sent them flying. Bang bang. In the desert, two potholes were smashed. Uchiha Sasuke and Uzumaki Naruto got up instantly, looked at Ōtsutsuki Kaguya, Naruto gritted his teeth. Sure enough, such a guy is not so easy to deal with. P.S. This is Chapter 121, thank you for your support. Chapter 122 Miyamoto's Space Pupil Technique 3/5. Chapter 122. These two people, looking at Uzumaki Naruto and Uchiha Sasuke, Ōtsutsuki Kaguya's face revealed a thoughtful look. Is it Hagoromo and Hamura? No, is this Chakra, Indra and Ashura? While speaking, Ōtsutsuki Kaguya opened his eyes, and clearly saw the chakra of Uzumaki Naruto and Uchiha Sasuke, and also saw the chakra of Indra and Ashura attached to them.
Hearing what Ōtsutsuki Kaguya said, Uchiha Sasuke looked serious and asked. What is your purpose? Hearing Uchiha Sasuke's words, I fixed my eyes and saw Uchiha Sasuke's Six Paths Chakra clearly, and Uzumaki Naruto's Six Paths Chakra. Six Paths Chakra? I see, no wonder that man let you in. But, no matter what kind of chakra, it can only be owned by Aisha. The long hair is windless and automatic, and the huge momentum makes Uchiha Sasuke and Uzumaki Naruto two people, their faces are full of dignity. Alas, once again, bring the chakra together 17. Swish. Immediately rushed towards Uzumaki Naruto and Uchiha Sasuke, Ōtsutsuki Kaguya-ji's face was full of killing intent, his white eyes were opened, and he raised his hand to gather a terrifying chakra. 80 God's Air Strike. This is Ōtsutsuki Kaguya's top method, a simple chakra attack, the purest power, but the most deadly. The deadly power made Uzumaki Naruto's face reveal an extremely dignified color, and he was ready for the battle in an instant. The moment Ōtsutsuki Kaguya raised her hand to attack, the space in front of her twisted, and one hand protruded. Boom. The palm condensed with huge repulsion was pressed on Ōtsutsuki Kaguya's heart, and the figure of Miyamoto driving chakra mode appeared in front of Ōtsutsuki Kaguya. Hundredfold repulsion. Boom. The space vibrated for a moment, and then Ōtsutsuki Kaguya's figure disappeared without a trace, and was blown away as if teleported. Putting down his hands, Miyamoto's eyes were serious. The third goal, achieved. After saying this, I copied Ōtsutsuki Kaguya's immortal body, Miyamoto's body, exuding bursts of pale golden light, and even the chakra mode on the body has changed directly. The pure white exudes a pale golden light, forming a golden Kalen royal robe, with a pattern like a holy fire on it. Reincarnation Chakra Mode. The flame imprint of Sage Mode's facial makeup on the forehead seems to be alive at this moment, burning like an unquenchable flame. Power at its peak. Ben felt it carefully, a smile appeared on his face, he twisted his neck, and pondered in his heart. But sorry, it hasn't been fully integrated yet, can this state only last for 10 minutes? After adjusting his state, Miyamoto's face revealed a dignified color, and Ōtsutsuki Kaguya was no longer in Miyamoto's eyes. Turning to look at Uchiha Sasuke and Uzumaki Naruto, Miyamoto said. You two, be careful, and be ready to seal at any time, I will create opportunities for you. The current form is not very familiar. If I can fight for 10 minutes at most, my strength will drop to a level. Hearing Miyamoto's words, Uchiha Sasuke and Uzumaki Naruto looked at each other and nodded at the same time. Understood. Look back. It's a pity that Six Paths planetary devastation is not a pupil technique, but a sealing technique. If I haven't met Miyamoto of Sage of Six Paths, I have no chance to learn it.
His Rinne Sharingan, possessed, just the planetary devastation, seal Ōtsutsuki Kaguya, is totally not enough to watch. While pondering, Miyamoto turned his eyes and looked up at the sky above his head. A black hole formed, and the figure of Ōtsutsuki Kaguya emerged from it. Miyamoto locked by light. This is the world of the Ai family, the Yuan family wants to be here. Kill you all. At the same time as it fell, Ōtsutsuki Kaguya's hair spread out, and the terrifying hair covered the sky, like 1,000 copies, shot towards Miyamoto, as well as Uchiha Sasuke and Uzumaki Naruto standing on the ground. The must-hit physical technique, the rabbit hair needle. With a fixed gaze, Miyamoto raised his hands, condensing chakra.
Super silver wheel turning explosion. Bang! The center of the silver wheel's explosion, directly because of this terrifying power, distorted the space to form an Uzumaki, a black mass point, exuding a terrifying aura. Under the terrifying attraction of the explosion of the silver wheel, all the rabbit hair needles that were attacking the three of them were sucked into the particles and vanished into ashes. With serious eyes, the attractiveness of Yinlan's transformation suddenly increased greatly, and he directly attracted Ōtsutsuki Kaguya.
In the face of Miyamoto's Ginlan blast, Ōtsutsuki Kaguya's face remained unchanged. Instead of retreating, he rushed into the attack range of the tornado formed by Ginlan blast. But just after rushing in, a black hole appeared in front of Ōtsutsuki Kaguya, and his body fell into it instantly. The next moment, a hand stretched out from behind Uchiha Sasuke and Uzumaki Naruto, grabbing their necks directly. Miyamoto Musashi. You don't have the means to seal Ōtsutsuki, that is. As long as Indra and Ashura are dead, you have no chance. After saying this, Uzumaki Naruto and Uchiha Sasuke, who were restricted in their actions and had difficulty even speaking, were directly dragged into another space. With a slight flash in his eyes, Miyamoto just wanted to take a step forward, but the next moment, a gray bone stabs at Miyamoto from the space in front of Miyamoto. To kill ashes together. Miyamoto's gaze was fixed, and he raised his hand to hold it. A golden long sword appeared in his hand, and he raised his hand to kill. A total of ashes killed and 433 swords collided. Ding! After the clanging of gold and iron, Miyamoto's figure was shaken back, and at the same time, he sank into a space Uzumaki one step at a time.
Boom! Just as Miyamoto submerged into the space Uzumaki, behind him, a huge chakra fist rushed past with unparalleled power, bombarding together with the co-killing ashes. Amidst the explosion, Ōtsutsuki Kaguya's body came out of the space, his face remained unchanged, and he looked into the space with white eyes. Swish! The space Uzumaki formed behind Ōtsutsuki Kaguya again, and the terrifying attraction directly sucked Ōtsutsuki Kaguya's body into it. Boom boom boom. Just as Ōtsutsuki Kaguya was absorbed, there was a shocking sound from the space. The next moment, Ōtsutsuki Kaguya's body fell from the sky and fell to the ground, with some scars on his face. Apparently, having just been dragged into space, Uzumaki was hit by Miyamoto's attack. I see. The scars on his face recovered instantly, and a sneer appeared on Ōtsutsuki Kaguya's face. You can't master the world of Ōtsutsuki, you can come in only because your pupil technique can only connect the space here. Is it in the royal palace? Coming out of the space Uzumaki, Miyamoto looked at Ōtsutsuki Kaguya without changing his expression. That's right, that's not right. P.S. To be continued, this is chapter 122, thank you for your support, thank you very much. Chapter 123 Chasing Down Kaguya 4/5. Chapter 123. It's not as easy to use as Heaven's Escort. Looking at Ōtsutsuki Kaguya, Miyamoto said. Because. Just after Miyamoto finished speaking, his figure had already come to the top of Ōtsutsuki Kaguya's head, and he raised his hand to suppress it. There is still a possibility of being detected by the Imperial Palace, but with this pupil technique, there is no such possibility. Bang! A terrifying huge pothole appeared in this desert. Suspended in the air, Ōtsutsuki Kaguya could not be seen in the eyes. Miyamoto's face showed a dignified color. Immortal is really a big trouble. Miyamoto's eyes flickered, and after glancing at the sand space, he stepped out. Starting ball space. Got you. In the space of the first ball, Ōtsutsuki Kaguya's injuries have recovered. With serious eyes, he directly absorbs the gathered chakra and restores himself. Mother, that Miyamoto Musashi is much stronger than Yuya back then, but what purpose should he have? In Ōtsutsuki Kaguya's sleeve, Black Zetsu spoke. Otherwise, with his strength, I shouldn't be able to resurrect my mother. Hearing Black Zetsu's words, Ōtsutsuki Kaguya's eyes flickered slightly. As long as you know his purpose, should you be able to find a way to restrict it? Swish. The figure left the place in an instant. Ōtsutsuki Kaguya's face was solemn, and he bowed slightly, revealing the ashes all over his body. A black hole appeared in front of him, and his body fell directly into it. Boom. Where Ōtsutsuki Kaguya was originally, Miyamoto's figure appeared, directly blasting the ground into a pothole. He looked up at Ōtsutsuki Kaguya, who was submerged in the black hole. His face remained unchanged, and he raised his hands. Shenluo Tianzheng. The condensed terrifying repulsive force radiated out, and behind Miyamoto, Ōtsutsuki Kaguya stretched out two bone blades from his palms, and charged towards Miyamoto.
After colliding with the repulsive circle for a few seconds, the ashes killed directly broke through the repulsive circle and stabbed towards Miyamoto's back vest. Go to hell. Sensing the killing intent behind him, Miyamoto's eyes flickered slightly, and then his body disappeared in an instant.
So fast. His time-space pupil technique is too fast. After Ōtsutsuki Kaguya exclaimed in his heart, he felt a wave coming from above him, and turned around. Miyamoto's figure appeared behind Ōtsutsuki Kaguya. In Miyamoto's hand, there was a light jade, which was about the size of Big Ball Rasengan. He shouted, "Ninja Big Ball Rasengan." Hearing Miyamoto's words, Ōtsutsuki Kaguya's eyes flashed, and he stretched out his army directly.
It's useless. I can absorb any ninjutsu. After saying this, Ōtsutsuki Kaguya directly ignored Miyamoto's attack, and grabbed Miyamoto's with his hand, and the ashes in the palm of his hand also extended instantly, stabbing at Miyamoto. Snapped. In the face of Ōtsutsuki Kaguya's attack, Miyamoto's super reflexive force made a counterattack in an instant. He tilted his head, and after dodging the attack, he opened Ōtsutsuki Kaguya's arm. At the same time, the big light jade in the right hand directly bombarded the god Ōtsutsuki Kaguya. Miyamoto's eyes were fixed, and the power of attack became stronger. Boom, boom. The next moment of the frontal hit, Ōtsutsuki Kaguya's body was directly blasted into the ground. Snort. With a muffled grunt, Ōtsutsuki Kaguya looked at Miyamoto in disbelief, and couldn't help but say, "Blood following the snare. What a vile attack." After realizing that Miyamoto's attack on him was not a ninjutsu at all, but the same blood following the snare as his own attack, Ōtsutsuki Kaguya showed a trace of anger on his flat face. A despicable attack indeed. Taking back the fused Amatama, a sneer appeared on Miyamoto's face, looking at Ōtsutsuki Kaguya. Are you confused by the seal? This is a life and death war.
Didn't you take Naruto and the others away just now? After saying this, a golden sword appeared in Miyamoto's hand. Golden wheels explode. The terrifying sword glow directly slashed at Ōtsutsuki Kaguya, mercilessly, with all his strength. Bang! The entire first ball space is shaking, the ground of the first ball space, and the huge gully that spreads to the distance. It seems that the entire first ball space is divided into two. Glancing at the movement he had made, Miyamoto's eyes shone brightly, sinking into the space in front of Uzumaki.
Followed in the footsteps of Ōtsutsuki Kaguya and left the opening space. Ōtsutsuki Kaguya is much easier to beat than Uchiha Madara. After being sealed for so many years, Ōtsutsuki Kaguya's fighting consciousness has become unbelievably dull. In addition, she has just been resurrected, and her strength is far from reaching its peak state. To kill Kaguya, the difficulty lies in her time-space pupil technique and her immortal body. It's not good if it goes on like this. In the ice space, Ōtsutsuki Kaguya's face showed a dignified color. 2 consecutive fights, Ōtsutsuki Kaguya was severely suppressed. In this way, it is very likely to be defeated by that Miyamoto Musashi again, and then sealed by Indra and Ashura. In the eyes of Ōtsutsuki Kaguya, Uzumaki Naruto and Uchiha Sasuke are their own grandsons, Indra and Ashura. Just after escaping into the ice space, the trauma he suffered just now has already recovered. Bai Yan was very cautious about the space around him, in case Miyamoto suddenly appeared again. After Ōtsutsuki Kaguya's face changed a few times, he opened his mouth and said, "Black Zetsu, give me your consciousness." Hearing Ōtsutsuki Kaguya's words, Black Zetsu stared blankly for a moment, and then actively merged into Ōtsutsuki Kaguya's body.
He is originally the will created by Ōtsutsuki Kaguya, and it is not an exaggeration to say that he is a part of Ōtsutsuki Kaguya's will. Good king is good. Because of this, there is no resistance when fused into Ōtsutsuki Kaguya's will. In other words, they couldn't resist at all. Thus, Ōtsutsuki Kaguya, who merged with Black Zetsu, his aura changed slightly, and his strength burst out. He raised his eyes and looked to the other side of the space. Miyamoto had already appeared. The strength can also be displayed by 70% to 80%.
Miyamoto Musashi, this space is your burial place. Ōtsutsuki Kaguya, who had changed his momentum, gave a loud shout, then flashed his figure, rushed directly to Miyamoto, and raised himself up. Your chakra is mine too. Boom. Yashigami Sora shot by himself, using Huang Quan Hirosaka. This powerful attack came directly in front of Miyamoto. Right here. Rao. Die. P.S. This is Chapter 123. Thank you for your support, it is very important. Chapter 124 Come and die together. 5/5. Chapter 124. Bang bang bang. Ōtsutsuki Kaguya's Yashigami air strike is indeed powerful, but this does not mean that Miyamoto cannot use it. Countless huge fists collided with each other in the air one after another, and terrifying air fluctuations erupted. As soon as his eyes were fixed, Ōtsutsuki Kaguya's face showed a solemn color, and his body rushed into the black hole that opened in front of him at the fastest speed. Kill the ashes together. No words, but the gray bones growing out of Ōtsutsuki Kaguya's body are very lethal. Miyamoto's eyes were solemn, and he turned around quickly, holding both hands. 2 golden lightsabers took shape. Golden wheels explode. The weapons in the hands of the two collided in an instant. Miyamoto's taijutsu, which has been tempered for a long time, burst out of terrifying pressure in an instant, so that even Ōtsutsuki Kaguya, who was able to exert 80% of his strength in his heyday, was also under tremendous pressure.
Ding! The golden wheel in the right hand, which was condensed to a length of 3 feet, exploded and slashed at Ōtsutsuki Kaguya's body. The moment the huge power and sharp blade cut into the ashes of the left hand, the ashes of Ōtsutsuki Kaguya's right hand directly moved towards Miyamoto's body. Body shot. Miyamoto, who noticed with his eyes, directly gave up the lightsaber in his right hand, spun his body, and avoided the attack of Ōtsutsuki Kaguya with a total of 243 kills, and cut upwards with the left and right lightsabers.
Seeing this, Ōtsutsuki Kaguya backed away directly, avoiding the attack of the blade, and at the same time, the long hair behind him suddenly stretched out, reaching behind Miyamoto, wrapping around the ashes shot out, and moving towards Miyamoto's body in an instant. Snort. Seeing such an attack, Miyamoto smiled coldly, and regardless of the co-killers behind him, the lightsaber in his left hand lit up with golden light. Golden wheels explode. Jung. The original length of the golden wheel burst out, piercing the body of Ōtsutsuki Kaguya in an instant, and at the same time, behind Miyamoto, the ashes were about to hit him. But in the next moment, Miyamoto's body disappeared in an instant. Puff. The reflected bones were also submerged into Ōtsutsuki Kaguya's body. Under the action of two forces, Ōtsutsuki Kaguya's body fell into the ground. Miyamoto's body appeared in the air, looking towards the place where Ōtsutsuki Kaguya fell, and after waiting for the smoke to clear, Ōtsutsuki Kaguya was standing on the ground, looking indifferently at Miyamoto in the sky. You are strong. But that's all. After saying this, BHBD, Chakra on Ōtsutsuki Kaguya exploded. Merge into one. The figure disappeared in an instant, and Miyamoto's eyes were fixed, looking at the entire ice space, and a sense of danger appeared in Miyamoto's heart. Next moment. Boom. All the ice cubes in the entire ice space melted, and the water in the entire space spread into the air from below as if consciously. Is it integrated with nature? Miyamoto's face was solemn, watching everything that happened here, facing this attack like the whole world. He raised his hand.
Thousand-fold amplification Shenluo Tianzheng. The space is distorted, and the entire ice space feels unbearable. Then, a terrifying repulsive force that was so strong that it had already distorted the space, as if repelling the world outside, responded to the attack of the entire world. With the collision of such powerful forces, the entire ice space began to collapse. Ōtsutsuki Kaguya, who is incarnate in nature, felt it, his eyes were dignified, and he withdrew from the integration of nature, and the 9 Guyu reincarnation Sharingan on his forehead turned around.
I'll destroy this space and see what you can do. Floating in the air, Ōtsutsuki Kaguya opened his hands, and a burst of pupil power burst out. After the entire ice space trembled, the next moment, like a bubble, it was continuously distorted and expanded. Feeling such a change, Miyamoto didn't hesitate at all, and with a movement of his body, his pupil power radiated out, wanting to leave here. How could it be possible for you to leave successfully? Ōtsutsuki Kaguya noticed Miyamoto's thoughts, and said a word. The terrifying pupil power directly acted on Miyamoto's body, imprisoning Miyamoto's actions. Ōtsutsuki Kaguya made up his mind to let Miyamoto be destroyed along with the space. Destruction is centered on Miyamoto. As long as the area where Miyamoto is located is destroyed, she will leave directly, and there will be no problem. His gaze flickered, but Jugoyu's reincarnation Sharingan's pupil power was terrifying. Although his Rinne Sharingan was indeed powerful, and his potential was higher than that, his pupil power was still a little weaker at this stage. Then stay together. Miyamoto's eyes fell on Ōtsutsuki Kaguya's body. No matter what he ignored, all the pupil power burst out, and directly transferred Ōtsutsuki Kaguya to his side, and the pupil power of both of them imprisoned each other. Escape to other dimensions. You imprison me, of course you can't do it.
With a sneer, Miyamoto said, but it's okay to pull you to my side. That's it, let's be wiped out together. Hearing Miyamoto's words, Ōtsutsuki Kaguya stared at Miyamoto, and then said nothing. Swish. The figures of the two disappeared together in the ice space, and in the next moment, they came to a world full of high temperature and lava everywhere. Snort. Miyamoto didn't care about the changes in the environment. The moment he appeared, his body was under heavy pressure. Ōtsutsuki Kaguya's terrifying pupil power, like a giant mountain, suppressed Miyamoto's body towards the magma below. After glancing at the lava, Miyamoto looked up at Ōtsutsuki Kaguya. This guy has finally chosen his dominant attack method. For Ōtsutsuki Kaguya, pupil power is her only advantage. The chakra on his body erupted, and quickly condensed into a Susanoo with wings on his back, wearing Yudengu armor, with Fudo Yuhun hanging on his waist and a storefront with 10 Tomo slowly rotating on his head. This is the full body of Miyamoto Susanoo. Susanoo raised her hand, and the 3-hook jade on the back of her head fell directly into her hand, spinning quickly, creating a more terrifying power than when she was fighting Uchiha Madara. Taking one look at Ōtsutsuki Kaguya, Miyamoto manipulated Susanoo into throwing. 8-foot Chong Guyu. Swish. The 8-foot Chong Guyu was thrown out, and the rapidly spinning 3 Guyu, like a circle of light, possessed unparalleled cutting power, and came to Ōtsutsuki Kaguya's side almost instantly. Not good. When Bachi Chong Guyu approached, Ōtsutsuki Kaguya's face changed.
I can't absorb it. Is this also a blood trap? After discovering this situation, Ōtsutsuki Kaguya without any hesitation, fell back without any hesitation, fell into the black hole and disappeared. Bang! The 8-foot Chonguyu directly hit the sky above the lava space, and after piercing through it, countless gravels fell down. Miyamoto frowned, and his figure shifted directly.
P.S. This is Chapter 124, thank you for your support. Chapter 125 Haisuyu Shenwei 1/5 Chapter 125 In the first ball space, the figure of Ōtsutsuki Kaguya appeared here, with an angry face. Hateful, aggrieved, it was really aggrieved to play. I didn't expect to meet such a strong opponent who is not afraid of death just after being resurrected. This is really bad for Ōtsutsuki Kaguya. The strength is limited, and it cannot be killed with one blow. If it continues like this for a long time, there may be problems.
Opening his hands, Ōtsutsuki Kaguya's eyes are serious. I want more chakra. Bang! The ground of the first ball space shattered directly, and the huge and terrifying chakra gushed out directly, rushing into Ōtsutsuki Kaguya's body. The already terrifying momentum rose again, and the consumption suffered also recovered quickly. Not enough. With a cold face, Ōtsutsuki Kaguya absorbed crazily. In such a situation, his strength increased exponentially. In the space Uzumaki, the light of the golden wheel's sword exploded, and the sun flashed by. Jung. The sharp knife light slashed towards Ōtsutsuki Kaguya, the speed was almost reaching ultimate, and Miyamoto's face showed seriousness. Facing such an attack, Ōtsutsuki Kaguya turned around and raised his hand. It's useless. The me now, your attack is useless. Clang. The sharp light of the golden wheel was directly blocked by the terrifying chakra condensed in the hands of Ōtsutsuki Kaguya. Bang bang bang. The scattered golden wheel exploded and landed in every corner of the first ball space, and explosions were everywhere in the blink of an eye.
The first ball space suffered heavy losses. With serious eyes, Miyamoto looked at Ōtsutsuki Kaguya, whose chakra volume in his body was still skyrocketing, and didn't have any thoughts about the golden wheel's life explosion being blocked. Step out. Susanoo. His eyes flickered, a huge power burst out, and Susanoo condensed instantly. Prickly. In an instant, Susanoo pulled out the Fudo spirit and slashed at Ōtsutsuki Kaguya. Snort, ashes condensed on his body. Ōtsutsuki Kaguya looked at Miyamoto, snorted coldly, and raised his hand, intending to block Miyamoto. At the same time, Kaguya shot at Miyamoto's Susanoo. The light of the knife, the ashes shot out. Ding, puff. Ōtsutsuki Kaguya's ashes were nailed directly into Susanoo, and at the same time her right arm flew into the air. Eyes flickering, looking at his severed right hand, Ōtsutsuki Kaguya looked at Miyamoto's intact Susanoo. As the total killing of ashes useless against his Susanoo. So, how about this one? After speaking, Ōtsutsuki Kaguya directly entered the state of tail beast, because there was a huge meatball in the air. Roar. The image of 9 tails appeared on the meatball, with tentacles one after another, attacking and killing Miyamoto. In the face of such an attack, by manipulating Susanoo, the 3-hook jade on the back of the head rotates directly, bursting out with a whole ray of light, like a protective cover. When these tentacles touched the light, they melted directly. This chakra continues into the tailed beast like Ōtsutsuki Kaguya. Boom, boom, boom. The tailed beast, which was already huge, swelled crazily after absorbing the almost endless chakra, and a huge black truth-seeking ball directly burst through the body. Ōtsutsuki Kaguya's body, also reappearing next to the inflated truth-seeking ball, his hands have also been restored, looking at Miyamoto. How about an inflated truth-seeking ball? Looking at the inflated truth-seeking ball, Miyamoto's eyes were fixed, and Susanoo drove, holding the Fudo Yuhun in his hand. Cut. Jung with a flash of saber light, the huge saber energy from Budo Yuhun directly hit the inflated truth-seeking ball. Slashing with sword energy, it will be melted when touched, it has no effect at all. Looking at Ōtsutsuki Kaguya in a blink of an eye, the figure of Miyamoto rushed out in an instant. If you kill you can stop this thing from expanding. Instead of retreating, Ōtsutsuki Kaguya rushed directly to Miyamoto, and said coldly. It has ended. Miyamoto Musashi. It's true that you were able to hurt me so many times, I'll remember you. While speaking, Ōtsutsuki Kaguya's pupil power exploded directly, enveloping Miyamoto. Budo Royal Soul. With a loud shout, Susanoo raised her hand, held the knife in both hands, and slashed down. Slay God. Cut down. Miyamoto's face showed a dignified color. Fudo Yuhun's sword hadn't been cut off yet, but Ōtsutsuki Kaguya already felt that the beheading had come to his side. With serious eyes, Ōtsutsuki Kaguya knows this trick very well, because she knows it herself. Using space. Don't think about it. Base. One by one, the extremely huge ashes of the co-killed ashes directly passed through the black hole, heading towards Susanoo. Ask for flowers. Before Miyamoto's attack fell, the co-killing bones had already stabbed Miyamoto's Susanoo. The co-killing bones that had no effect on Susanoo just now, because of the improvement of Ōtsutsuki Kaguya's strength, greatly increased their power. Glancing at Susanoo, who had already collapsed, her eyes were serious. Have gained power. Can I defeat my Susanoo? The condensed golden wheel in the hand bursts into life, looks up at Kaguya-ji. Thorn. In front of Miyamoto, a black hole emerged. A small piece of ashes came towards Miyamoto. Smiling coldly, Miyamoto Rinne's Sharingan's pupil power exploded, and directly opened up the black hole in front of him. With a movement of his body, he was submerged in it while avoiding the killing ashes.
Seeing this scene, Ōtsutsuki Kaguya's expression changed. 0. Oops. For a moment, he wanted to retract his hand, but it was too late. The moment Miyamoto's figure sank into the black hole, he got out from the black hole attacked in front of Ōtsutsuki Kaguya. Facing the hands of Ōtsutsuki Kaguya who are close at hand, Miyamoto looks calm. Golden wheel shatter explodes. Clang. Puff. As soon as the two sword lights slashed across, Ōtsutsuki Kaguya's two arms flew directly into the air above the retreating body. Not good. Looking at Miyamoto with both eyes, Ōtsutsuki Kaguya's face showed a rather dignified color. Looking at Miyamoto in front of him, his pupil force directly suppressed Miyamoto. Pupil technique coercion. Originally, it was only used as coercion with white eyes, but at the moment when the three eyes were used at the same time, Miyamoto's body speed instantly became stiff. Rinne Sharingan's pupil power also exploded, staring at Ōtsutsuki Kaguya. Pupil power fixation. Both of them were imprisoned in the same shape, except that Miyamoto turned his back to the inflated truth-seeking ball, and if he continued like this, he would die in front of Ōtsutsuki Kaguya. I won. Ōtsutsuki Kaguya, who noticed this early on, had a victorious smile on his face. After feeling it, Miyamoto showed a sneer on his face, looked at Ōtsutsuki Kaguya, and said, "It's not necessarily. Miyamoto, who can barely move his right hand, the slowest not ever." Hey, shoo, state, not yet.